Greetings, greetings, greetings. Welcome to Brilliant Babes. I'm your host, Vale Chicone. We begin Mrs. Farmer, aka Candace Owens. Okay, she's continuing on her investigation. So we are here to just ask questions. Okay, so as you can see, the title is this just about the investigation? Or are we dealing with a woman who has been scorned and right now she's settling her score? Well, we're going to find out. So let's get right into it. Welcome. Bring those comments. We're going to feature them along the way. So here is Lady Candace, okay? And I'll play this clip for you guys. We'll be making commentary along the way. Thank you for being here. Here we go.
Candace, I am on the floor. I think just generally the screenshot of Josh Hammer which is going to deeply upset Seth Dillings. She was so mean, so mean. Caitlin writes, hey, Candace, I'm a huge fan, and I believe all of what you say is true and genuine, but it does feel like you are drip feeding us the information that you have about Charlie's death and the betrayals around him episode by episode. Are you unable to lay it out all at once for us? And what can be done about Cash's corruption? Yes, I am obviously drip feeding. It would not be smart for me to tell them everything that I know, because I am trying to figure out who the rats are on the ship. And that is why I've been intentionally setting bait, giving a little bit of information and allowing them to lie. That is just the smart way to go about this, obviously, because I know that there's rats on the ship. Some I know for certain, but if I out those people, then the other ones can protect themselves and distance themselves. I don't know everybody that is on the ship, and who has betrayed Charlie. So this is the process that we are going through. And by the way, what I don't know, which is kind of the big point of this, I don't know actually who pulled the trigger and killed Charlie Kirk, right? And so there's kind of two running investigations: who betrayed Charlie Kirk. And I, by the way, make the argument that everyone is betraying him right now by not speaking out and telling the truth. I would say that, right? And then there's the other element of is who actually killed Charlie Kirk. Carrie, Jean.
So, well, there you have it. So she has information, but she's doing it on purpose. Drip, 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 drip information. Because it wouldn't be smart for Candace Owens to give the audience, to give the information so they can find out exactly who did this to Charlie Kirk. Because according to her, it was not Tyra Robinson. Okay? So if she has information, that's going to lead to find out who killed Charlie Kirk. Why is she sitting on the evidence? Why is she sitting on this information? Why is she saying that it wouldn't be smart? Smart for who? Smart for who? So when people out here are saying that this woman is grifting, that this woman is taking advantage of this situation, are they lying? Her own words, not mine. She says that she wants to set bait. Set bait for who? She knows some people, but she's not sure of the other people. Well, if you know the other people, the so-called rats, why can't you out them so that the authorities can take proper action against them? If you are truly investigating about Charlie, if you are truly seeking the truth about this situation, you guys tell me if whatever she's saying over here is par for the course right now. Would you want somebody who knows information that can help your loved one to be sitting on the information because it's not a smart thing to do? So this is what we're dealing with when we come to this lady over here, Mrs. Farmer. So don't forget, she's out here investigating about her best friend, Charlie Kirk, about Erica Kirk's husband, Charlie Kirk, okay? Someone else's husband, as I like to call it, okay? And yes, she's married. So let's hear how this issue transpired. So take a look at this. This is George Farmer and Candace Owens explaining about, how they met each other, okay? All right, welcome. Thank you for being here. Here we go.
Of the next year, which was 2019 when we got married, it was like, yeah, this is happening and this is good. This is good. Everyone likes you.
I remember for me, I didn't have anybody in my personal life that was saying, don't do this, but I definitely had people in my professional life who were saying, I will never forget this. Yeah. We have to call him out, right? We do. Charlie Kirk, Charles Kirk, if you are watching right now. But obviously he was very young, and both of us were just so absorbed with politics, and we were traveling together everywhere. Charlie really was like a little brother to me. And I remember he's just like, you just cannot do this. You don't know this person. And then one of the donors to Turning Point USA was telling him it would be very bad for my brand. And that really stuck with me. That one of the donors said, it would be very bad for your brand for you to like not marry a black guy from the projects or something like that.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
And I was sort of rebutted.
Do you think it's been bad for your brand?
Sort of rebutted.
That's the real question. I think is it bad for your brand now?
Well, I do not typically consider who I'm going to marry as a brand decision, which is what I explained
Maybe
to them.
you should.
Yeah. But we got married and we proved the naysayers wrong. And it's been a lot of learning experience. I think another question that a lot of people have is, what is the most difficult part about being married to Candace Owens?
Okay, so here is Candace Owens introducing Charlie Kirk as his professional friend. Because Candace did not have anybody in her personal life to run the situation, because they met within 18 days. George Farmer proposed and Candace Owens said yes, and they got married, okay? I'm all for people getting married as quickly as possible. However, but you said over here saying that these were just your professional friends, but you're out here investigating the situation about Charlie Kirk, who you have portrayed yourself as your best friend. So we are asking questions. Which is it? Which is it? Because who goes to this length of investigating just somebody who's just a professional friend? Who goes to this length just investigating about someone else's husband? You guys, tell me. Tell me. Tell me. So Lady Candace is out here, okay, laying the casework of how all this is the investigation, okay, in Charlie Kirk. So let's take a listen to how this episode went down. Thank you guys for being here. We continue. Here we go.
One of my own back of head conspiracies, kind of a long running thought of mine actually over the years. And it relates here to something interesting that I thought of after the show yesterday that I wanted to share with you guys regarding Charlie as a child. Charlie was obviously an extremely gifted child, so much so that he was hyperactive. He was actually always hyperactive. That never went away. He couldn't sit down. He was never idle. He was always working. But he was so gifted that, of course, doctors immediately wanted to put him on ADHD medicine because, well, why is he so hyperactive? Something's wrong with him. Let's drug him. And thankfully, Charlie's parents said, absolutely not. You're not drugging our son. He is actually, in fact, gifted. And they instead opted to send him to a school for the gifted. That's my memory. Charlie told me that story multiple times. And I thought about that. This has just been in my mind lately, living in my mind, because
So what does that story got to do with Charlie Kirk's investigation? Guys, like if you have your best friend is telling you certain information, is that for public consumption? Is that the story for everybody else to know? Like why are you bringing that up? Why are you bringing that up? So, but here we have her, because she wants to portray to people, telling people, so people should think like, yes, she was BFF by telling people these antidotes, right? The stories that Charlie Kirk, spoke to her. Now, well, how can we verify that story? Even if that story is true, right? But this is what she's telling us. How do we know that story is true? Charlie's not here for us to go and ask, okay? So what if, maybe, let's just say Erica doesn't even know about it, right? You see what I mean? So, and then what? So she's out here bringing this information to prove to the audience that she was BFF with Charlie Kirk, okay? She used to be cool with Charlie Kirk. I'm not disputing that fact. But in the later years, they were not cool. In the later years, they were not friends. They were not that close, I should say. They were not that close to a point of what she is doing. So Lady Candace has been at it, but there is actually a history behind this. So most people are always asking, what is the big deal? So what with whatever Candace Owens is doing? Guys, believe it or not, the things, whenever you have a platform, a huge platform like what she has, it's just not her doing these things, okay? It does affect people. There's people who are drinking this Kool-Aid, and there's people who are able and willing to take action, okay? So case in point, there's a gentleman who's been arrested because of stuff like this, right? What's his name? Seth Dillon was accused to, something to do with what happened to Charlie Kirk. To my knowledge, the only one who has insinuated something to that effect is Lady Candace. But this is not the first time that she has said things that other people have heard and have taken action. Take a look at this.
In February 2019, she said that if Hitler had just wanted to make Germany great, that it would have been fine. But he had dreams outside of Germany. Obviously not great, but 1 month later, the situation became a lot more real. On March 15th, 2019, a 28-year-old neo-Nazi shot up 2 mosques in Christchurch, New Zealand. He killed 51 people and injured 89 others. He wore Nazi symbols and wrote a 74-page manifesto about the white supremacist ideas of the Great Replacement and the White Genocide. In one section, the neo-Nazi explicitly stated, "The person that has influenced me above all was Candace Owens. Each time she spoke, I was stunned by her insights, and her own views helped push me further and further into the belief of violence over meekness." Candace was quick to distance herself from the attack, saying that it's ridiculous to conflate black conservatism with this guy. But it's important to note that his manifesto read pretty similarly to what Candace had been saying about Muslims taking over the UK and France, even using the exact dog whistles like cultural Marxism, which were found in the manifesto. A couple months later, in May 2019, she resigned from TPUSA, largely over the backlash from the Hitler comments. This is a weird time for Candace, one which I think led her to pretty big changes in her approach to politics. From March 19th, 2019 to June 18th, 2023, she did not tweet a single time about Islam. And I don't think it's because she became progressive or whatever, she became a woke jihadist, but I think she changed her tactics. Instead of lashing out about cultural Marxism, she attacked Cardi B about democratic politics. She said Harry Styles was gay for wearing a dress, and she found some momentum in 2020 by urging folks to ignore stay-at-home orders during COVID, which eventually got her kicked off some socials for a very short amount of time. Candace went on to host a show for PragerU before eventually joining Ben Shapiro's Daily Wire in 2021. However, it wasn't long before the cracks started showing. Despite being Candace.
Okay, so you see what happens? So you had a lunatic out there who be, I'm following whatever Candace Owens is saying. You know what I'm saying? I'm vibing with it. And this guy goes out there and literally ending up what? Deleting people. Okay? So, yes, Candace Owens did denounce all that. And I'm not saying that it's because of her. But I'm saying that the things that she says, other people, they hear those things and they're able and willing to what? To act upon those things. So clearly, in 2019, because all those things happened, Turning Point was just like, you know what? You gotta go. They demanded. You see what I'm saying? Turning Point just said demanded that she has to go. So, and then she ended up leaving, right? Went to PragerU, went to Daily Wire. So right now, is it any wonder that she is coming hard at the Turning Point USA employees? Because this is time for her payback. I used to work there. She wasn't planning on leaving, but the circumstances, forced Turning Point to get rid of Candace Owens. So right now, she's out here. She's be like, you know what? Guess what? I cannot have Turning Point. You guys, I was chased out of Turning Point because of people like you. I'm coming for you. She's not going to tell that to our audience. She's not going to tell that to audience, but she's going to pretend that she's doing this for the sake of Charlie Kirk. But when you look at her history, how she left Turning Point USA, it only makes sense right now with what she is doing. With what she's doing. Name me one person that she hasn't accused as far as Turning Point is concerned. Okay? It's the Rob McCoys. It's Andrew Covet. Everybody. The donors, you name it. Why? Because she is no longer part of that. And because she knows right now, because Charlie Kirk is gone, those people are going to be the beneficiaries of Turning Point. And guess what? If Candace Owens was still at Turning Point, who would have been a beneficiary of Turning Point? It would have been her. Yes, Erika Kirk will always be there by virtue because she's married, right? But everybody knows, like, okay, that was Charlie Kirk, the people who are working there. So right now, this is her opportunity. All the time that she lost at Turning Point, everything that she could have learned while she was at Turning Point, she is going to gain it right now. And that's exactly what she is doing. One episode at a time. And there's nothing anybody can do about it, okay? But she's just going to act like, you know what? This is nothing. So take a look at this, okay? Watch this, guys. So this is how, I'm like, you know what? It must be, she is grifting right now. And she's not going to stop. She will not stop because she has found an audience and it's working for her. Take a look at this, okay?
Make videos, people that are taking money, podcasters, people that make videos, people that are taking money to tell people don't look over there. I would recommend you stop doing that. You don't have to listen to me. You probably won't listen to me. Podcasters, people that make videos, people that are taking money to tell people don't look over there. I would recommend you stop doing that. You don't have to listen to me. You probably won't listen to me. Podcasters, people that make videos, people that are taking money.
So, let me bring it like this so you guys can see. Okay, let's try this. Okay, so this month alone, Candace Owens has pocketed $130,000 from just super chats on YouTube. So the comment says, has anyone profited more from Charlie Kirk's death than this, D? Talk about V. So just the super chat alone, she has rang in 130K. We are not counting the ad revenue. That's not even counting the sponsors, just the super chats. So this lady she's disguising this issue like she's on the quest. She's doing an investigation. She's trying to find out who did this to Charlie Kirk. No, she is not. She is not. The numbers don't lie, guys. Okay, the numbers don't lie. She did well with the Macron, and she has never done well financially speaking until the Charlie Kirk situation. So this has taken her to another level. Okay, there's nothing wrong, do money, do all those other things, right? But she's positioning herself like what she's doing. It's nothing to do with the finances, which is a lie, because the numbers don't lie. Because she told us that she knows the information. But she's going to do drip, drip, drip on purpose. If she is serious about finding out what happened to Charlie Kirk, why doing the drip, drip, drip? What is the purpose of the drip, 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 drip? So is it no wonder now, I think the other day, it was the Trump family. Then it's Rob McCoy, Mike McCoy. Now I'm hearing the Ukrainians, the Egyptians, who are like... Where does this thing end? So this is what she is doing, pretending like she's out here trying to get to the bottom of this. If she wanted to get to the bottom of this, according to her, she has the information. She should have just brought that information out. That's it. But she's sitting on it. Do I think that she has it? No, she doesn't have it. She just found this. She's found her, she's going to milk it for as long as it takes. And because she has the support... Hey, man, you know what I mean? Why stop now, as they say? You know what I mean? Do not let any tragedy go to waste, right? You always have to milk it in any way that you can. Welcome, guys. Before we continue, what are you guys saying? All right, Sharon Wade, good to see you. Oh, nobody would tolerate this, okay? No, to me, I was just like, George, where are you at? Okay? Because at this point, okay, George approves this. Because if he doesn't approve this, Candace is in charge of her home. So either way, George does not look good in this situation, given that she's a married woman. Okay? Continue. Yeah, okay, clear. So, okay, yeah. So this is with the approval of George. George supports this 100%. And by the way, Candace has said as much, that no, the husband supports everything that she does, clearly, including this. All right, guys, so let us continue to hear more from Mrs. Farmer. We continue. Here we go.
Truly believe that he was probably assigned like life handlers from that moment on. Something probably takes place. If you go to a little X-Men school and they're seeing how smart you are, you're a part of some program. I was in Extraordinary Learners as a kid, but I think Charlie was in like a special X-Men school. They probably are monitoring those kids. I actually believe that the reason that we have standardized tests is so that the government can track who is performing above the standard, right? Who's performing above the average slave? We better keep an eye on that one. Just my suspicion, my own personal conspiracy theory. I think when my kids are old enough to do standardized tests, because even when you homeschool, you have to do standardized tests, I'm going to be like, just get like a 70%. We don't want any government tracker sent on us. Anyways, I want to jump back into the Turning Point USA story and tell you guys something that's been bothering me about Rob McCoy. Stick on him. Other than the fact that he lies and he proclaims to be a pastor, is the fact that less than 36 hours after Charlie died, less than 36 hours, exact time at 10:34 p.m. Eastern on September 11th, the Turning Point USA Wikipedia received a rather interesting update. Pastor Rob McCoy, who had previously never been featured on their Wikipedia page, somehow got his own heading. Just amazing. Let's check out that fresh entry now. It reads, Rob McCoy and Charlie Kirk founded Turning Point USA Faith, TPUS Faith, together. Along with being a Pentecostal pastor in the Calvary Chapel Association, McCoy is the co-chairman of TPUS Faith. Aligned with the Christian right, McCoy inspired Kirk to amalgamate Christianity and social conservatism. During the COVID-19 pandemic, McCoy was known for speaking out against prohibitions on the holding of in-person church services. Now, the hardest part of being me is that I came up to Turning Point USA, so I just know these lies so quickly, okay? No, Rob McCoy was not the person who inspired Turning Point USA Faith. Actually, if anybody could be credited with that, that was like way back in the day at Liberty University, actually. Those pastors, those conversations, I was there for that. We should do like a faith division, whatever it is. He didn't inspire it. And what's so interesting about that entry is that when you then click it, this is how you know this is absurd. When you click the actual notations that are there, when it says he's the co-founder, what are you talking about? Since when is he the co-founder? And also says that he was the chairman. When you click it, that article, which they pretend is a note, hit the 54, Skylar, not 55, okay? That's from November 24th, 2024. That's their justification for saying he was a founder. Nowhere in that article does it say that he's a founder or the chairman. Nowhere. They just put a fake article, a real article that never said this. And they're like, oh, now it's sourced. It's here forever because nobody ever does their homework. And we're Wikipedia. So you can't question.
Okay, so, all right, Candace, everything that you said, true. So what? What does this prove that Rob McCoy had something to do with with the deleting of Charlie Kirk? Is this the evidence that you're proving to your audience that because of this entry in the Wikipedia means that Rob McCoy had something to do with what happened to Charlie Kirk? Does it prove anything? So not only that, let's not forget, okay? Candace Owens was fired from Turning Point in 2019. So are you telling me between 2019 and 2025, she's aware of everything that was happening at TPUSA? Is she aware of everything that was going on over there? So if they implemented Turning Point faith, to me, I don't understand. So Rob McCoy is there. Okay, he does work with Turning Point USA faith. Those things are actually true. So just because he wasn't on the Wikipedia or he's on the Wikipedia, what does that prove or disprove? Is it not true that Charlie Kirk considered him as his pastor? I'm a zero fan of Rob McCoy, his new apostolic reformation, the whole 9 years, right? But what is the issue that Candace Owens has with with Rob McCoy? What I'm seeing with everything else we're coming, no. There is a little bit of jealousy going on over here, okay? Because you have Rob McCoy, who ended up having that big spotlight on him. And then his son, it was chief of staff to Charlie Kirk. And according to Candace, there's word that, he's about to get more responsibilities, so to speak. So in Candace Owens' mind, like, wait a minute. Rob McCoy's, paycheck from Turning Point. Mike also Turning Point from, paycheck from Turning Point. Oh, no. You know what I mean? She's on a mission to discredit this Rob McCoy, on a mission to discredit Mark McCoy, because she already did a video about Mark McCoy did not act right on that day. She wasn't even there. The case hasn't gone to trial yet for people to be questioned as a witness on the stand and to find out exactly what happened on that particular day. But she's out here accusing people left and right, and people are drinking this Kool-Aid. So let's watch some more.
This, obviously. And then you can see the second citations that are used, the dates of them, September 10th, September 2025. So it's brand spanking new, you guys. Still has tags on it. Less than 36 hours later. Now, you might be thinking, trying to justify that, as I was, you might be rationally wondering, well, look, there was a lot of interest in Turning Point USA following this assassination. Maybe there wasn't any mention of Turning Point faith at all. And maybe what they did was afterwards, Wikipedia editors went in there and wanted to just break apart every part and speak about Turning Point USA and dedicate more thorough research to the various projects that Turning Point USA and Charlie Kirk are working on. So they included a new tab about Turning Point faith. If you're wondering that, that's fair. But the answer to that musing is no. Actually, there already was a long-standing section on the Wikipedia website regarding Turning Point faith on Wikipedia. In fact, that section is still available if you just scroll down. And it kind of conflicts with the new section that was added 36 hours later. It makes it clear that Charlie Kirk founded TPUSA Faith alone. Here it is in 2021. Charlie Kirk founded TPUSA Faith, an organization that says it is dedicated to recruit pastors and other church leaders to be active in local and national political issues. The organization promotes a culture war agenda and is intended to attract supporters among religious conservatives. Its activities include faith-based voter drives and educating members on TPUSA core values. Now, you can keep reading here. There's no mention of McCoy. So what this means practically is that when Charlie Kirk was alive, that is what the Wikipedia read. And then he died, and suddenly somebody in the world said, well, what about Rob McCoy? Let's add Rob McCoy, who is not known worldwide. Okay, this is even before the memorial event. So you could maybe go, oh, well, maybe once he hit the stage and said, I'm Charlie's pastor, somebody went in there and added it. I don't know, guys. My question is, who made that update? Who was...
What does it matter, Candace Owens, who made that update? They don't answer to you. They don't report to you. So Charlie Kirk is gone, right? There will be people who've taken over Turning Point doing all sorts of things, right? So shouldn't their names not be on the Wikipedia? Shouldn't their names be on the Wikipedia? Like, to me, I'm failing to understand. How is this connected? Because she said she's doing this to find out what happened to Charlie Kirk, the investigation to Charlie Kirk. So we are following this investigation, okay? We're trying to find out where the evidence is going to lead us. So now you're taking us to a Wikipedia page about Rob McCoy. Whatever you think about this guy, he was there speaking at the memorial. He just didn't drop out of thin air. Why did it have to be him? Does he work for Turning Point USA? Yes, he does. He was one of the guys on the group chat communicating to Charlie Kirk. Is this a lie? Those are the things that are true. So to me, she is systematically trying to discredit everybody who was close to Charlie Kirk. These people were the ones who were close to Charlie Kirk. Candace wasn't. You know what she's been saying about, what's his name, Frank Turek? Okay? These are the people who were close to Charlie Kirk. Frank Turek was there. You know what I mean? He was one of the guys who lifted Charlie Kirk into the car. So where was Candace Owens on that day? How come she wasn't at that particular campus? Mike McCoy was there. So it's like all the people who are close to Turning Point USA, these are the ones that she's coming after. To me, all I'm saying is this. If this Rob McCoy, Mike, you name it, Erica Kirk included, if they had something to do with what happened to Charlie Kirk, Candace Owens, Mrs. Farmer, will you please provide the evidence? We are not going to carry water for Erica Kirk. Nobody. Okay? We want justice to be done, and we want justice to be done swiftly. So if this lady has information, should she provide that information? Has she provided that information? Because it's a different story if she can come out. Guys, I have this information, but I have provided this information to TPUSA. They're not doing anything about it. I've provided this information to the authorities. They're not doing anything about it. They leave me no choice but to bring it to the public. I think people will be like, you know what? She did try. They just didn't listen to her. Where is this evidence? Because if you're bringing stuff about Wikipedia over here, so right now we should be looking at Rob McCoy as a suspect because of the information that happened to Wikipedia. Now, if we find out that it wasn't Rob McCoy who updated the information on Wikipedia, then what? All right, but you guys help me out here because I don't want to go crazy, okay? Let's hear some more. Maybe she's going to produce evidence, but I doubt it.
Rather instructed to make that update, because I can tell you how it works for big companies. I was actually desperately looking for a text from Charlie because I know he told me that they, Turning Point USA's organization, had found a guy that could help clean up the Wikipedia pages, right? There are people that do this full time and they're paid by bigger organizations to clean up their Wikipedia pages, because I remember, and I still have the messages when we first had our pages, which were made by Wikipedia editors, and they were horrific. They said terrible things about us. It was like, Candace is a racist, white nationalist, a crazy person who hates.
And when was that, Candace Owens? When did this text message, when did Charlie Kirk send you this text message? Because if you're talking about back in the day, 2018, 2019, it's irrelevant to this situation. So unless if he's sending you the text messages via the dreams like you told us, but as it stands, that holds no water, guys. Okay? And let's not forget, this lady has had a platform. After Turning Point, she went to Praga, she went to Daily Wire. Okay? Where are the videos that Candace Owens was so concerned about what was happening with Turning Point USA? How come she wasn't doing those videos when she was working at Daily Wire? How come she wasn't doing the videos that she's concerned about the direction of Turning Point when Charlie Kirk was alive and well in this world? People do videos all the time. Where are those videos? For her, raising concern what was happening at Turning Point USA. So now, all of a sudden, Candace Owens, she's so concerned about Turning Point USA because Charlie Kirk is gone. I mean, who is buying this, honestly? Oh, man.
BLM, but she hates women, you know, the whole gamut that you're getting right now about me. And we were horrified when we looked at our Wikipedia pages. And then some time passed and someone within the organization had found a person who could clean up our Wikipedia pages. Charlie told me. And I cannot remember who that individual was. It'll come to me. It'll actually come to me. But I'm just interested. Do you guys think that some random person got inspired to include a whole heading of Rob McCoy 36 hours later? What do you guys think? I don't even think they had even yet announced that Erica Kirk was the chairman and the CEO 36 hours later. Like, that seems that early. less than 36 hours, I should say, to be very clear, less than 36 hours later, I don't even think Charlie's body had returned back to Arizona. And yet somebody was dedicated to Rob McCoy lying and claiming, this person who typed this, that he was the founder, the co-founder, Charlie's pastor. No, he wasn't. The founder of TPUS Faith, the inspiration behind TPUS Faith. No, he wasn't. He was one of the advisors, put on the board of advisory for TPUSA Faith. I know that he gets paid by TPUS Faith, upcoming pastor summits where they're going to teach other Christian Zionist pastors how to use the Bible as a shield for their political ideas. You know, it says right here in the Bible, unfollow Tucker Carlson. There's no other way that we can understand Paul's letter to the Corinthians other than to unfollow Tucker Carlson. That's the vibe I'm getting, the direction that Turning Point was going into, and Rob McCoy was definitively going to benefit financially from that. But founder? Since when? Anyways, now let's turn our attention to other allies. President Donald Trump. Of course, we have to arrive here because Charlie really loved Donald J. Trump. Okay? He loved him. It is unreal going through my messages to really consider how much he dedicated his entire life to him. And I mean, sleepless nights wanting to ensure that he got elected, reelected, midterm elections, hitting the ground, wearing a MAGA hat. We were everywhere. I was on fire for Trump too. I really believed in Trump. I really believed that if people could wake up to how quickly the media turned on him, that it could be, you know, this conduit to Black Americans understanding that we're being manipulated. Because my focus was all about Black America, right? And what I can say is that from the very moment that we learned the news that Charlie Kirk had passed, I knew spiritually that we were never going to get the full story from officials, right? Not from officials. I can't explain it. I felt that way. And then when Trump rushed to tweet out.
So I hope you caught it. She just knew spiritually that we're never going to get the truth. Nothing was going to happen as far as Charlie Kirk is concerned. Okay? She's a journalist. She's doing an investigation. Just you knowing it in your gut is not going to get it. That is not evidence. She needs to be producing evidence. Okay, remember, this is a case whereby somebody is, the young man, what's his name? Robin, right? They're seeking death penalty. Okay? So according to Candace, that boy didn't do it. No problem. He didn't do it. Okay? They're seeking death penalty. So if you're out here, you have information that's going to put someone else's child on a chopping block where he's going to be killed, but this lady is sitting on the information. Can you imagine that? So now we should just go by, you know what? Yes, spiritually, Candace knew that nothing was going to happen. Is that going to cut it, guys? Oh, it's just, how does she know that? Oh, Charlie Kirk told her when? Oh, in her dreams. How can you verify that? That's why when you go to the court of law, you need to cross-examine the witness. You need to cross-examine the evidence. How is Candace Owens' dreams going to be cross-examined in a court of law? Huh? How? It doesn't work like that. But she's out here fooling people to follow this, okay? So notice what she's done. She just insinuated things about Rob McCoy, okay? And just leave it there. She has not provided evidence. But, these entries, okay? Does Rob McCoy work for Turning Point USA Faith? Yes, he does. Was Rob McCoy referred to as Charlie Kirk's pastor? Yes, he is. Okay, if he works there, is it right and fine for him to get a paycheck from Turning Point USA? Of course. So what is the issue? What is the issue? Is the entry that's put in the Wikipedia, is that a crime? No, it's not a crime. Was Candace Owens there when Charlie Kirk and Rob McCoy, whatever, had their meeting, all these other things? Was she there? Does she have the information to the contrary where Charlie Kirk is telling her, oh no, I did not, I didn't do anything. You guys, I hope you get the point, okay? So let's move on to this Donald Trump thing, because it's just like, oh my gosh, man. I wish I was a lawyer and I would want to have this lady on the stand, Mrs. Owens. I'll just be, yes or no, Mrs. Farmer. Mrs. Farmer. Yeah. Were you there? Yes or no? This watch will cut it. Okay, did you say your dream is? So how can those be verified? So you have no any way to provide us. You have no evidence, but just your dreams. Yes or no, ma'am? Yes, guys.
All lies will be exposed. That's all.
Exactly. All right. So let's hear what she's about to say over here. She goes to the president. Okay. All right. Oh, I mean, logic is out of the window. Okay. There's no logic over here. Okay. Oh, yes. When we finish, we'll bring the results to see the percentage. Belt for Speed 101. What's up? Good to see you. Long time. Yes, sir, the trial with overwhelming evidence cannot come soon enough. Yes, I'm telling you, we cannot wait. But the judge doesn't even want cameras in court. So, because this will be it'll be like, okay, this is the evidence. This was the cross-examination, and this is what because Candace Owens, all this information is there, right? So it'll be very interesting to see what exactly is going to happen. Yes, good to see you guys. I'm so glad that you're here. Now let's hear what she's indicting the number 47, the president. Okay, so here we go, guys.
That or social Truth Social out that photo, an AI photo of him and Charlie with the Star of David in the background. I just knew. I knew the investigation into who murdered Charlie Kirk was officially over, right? The officials wanted nothing to do with it because there was nobody more psychotically insistent that people stop asking questions about Charlie's death immediately. I mean, early hours, right? Than the people that are dedicated to the Israel lobby, right? These individuals, if you go back, people that are pro-Israel for whatever reason, were like, do not look any further into this death. In fact, I'll challenge you, do me a favor. Find me just one real life pro-Israel individual who is expressing that they don't believe that Charlie Kirk was killed by Tyler Robinson. The evidence is overwhelming that Tyler Robinson didn't act alone, that Tyler Robinson didn't fire the shot, that Tyler Robinson didn't use a 30-06. Find me just one person with the platform who's pro-Israel.
So this is, once again, she is the one who has brought the accusation, okay? Remember, the onus is on you when you bring an accusation. The other people, they don't have to respond. She needs to be the one providing the evidence. So far, she hasn't produced any, okay? So she's out here saying that she saw the picture that Trump tweeted. And on the background, there was the U.S. flag as well as the Israeli flag. So because of that, Candace Owens knew nothing is going to come out of this investigation. So that is the evidence that she has provided to you because there was an Israeli flag behind the picture. Okay? So exhibit 2, by the way, because we have Wikipedia. Now we have the Israeli flag. Okay? Then she's moving on saying that as soon as Charlie Kirk died, people were told not to say anything, to investigate, just leave it alone. Can she provide us the names of people who say not to investigate about what happened to Charlie Kirk? Everybody needs to remain quiet. What are the names, Candace Owens? What are the names? Where are these tweets? What is their social media? Can you show us? Because that's easier verifiable. Because how does she know that this person demanded that they need to zip it when it comes to Charlie Kirk? Because if she shows us the text, then now we'll be like, okay, why did you say this? You see what I'm saying? So nothing. But she wants us to name one person who is quote unquote pro-Zion, who is saying they should do investigation and everything. Okay? Well, we have his friend, what's his name? Officer Tatum, right? He's all about like, okay, the investigation needs to take place. The investigation needs to take place. So there you have it. It says one person, right? So Officer Tatum supports that Charlie Kirk's investigation needs to take place. But she's out here. Remember, she's telling us it's not Tyler Robinson. All right, Candace, it's not Tyler Robinson. Then who is it? Who is it? Can we get names? Can we get the names? Can we get the evidence pointing to somebody else? Because at this point, we have Tyler Robinson facing death penalty, guys. And according to Candace, that's the wrong person. So are we all going to let an innocent person, Tyler Robinson, die while Candace Owens is sitting on the information? All right, let's continue.
And says, I want this investigation into his death to continue. It's a bit weird, right? It's a bit weird. Dogs, very silent right now. Very, very silent. And there's like a stake on the ground. They're not moving. It's very weird. They do, all of them, however, I will say, want him to be honored, right? mostly by your money. They want you to give to Turning Point USA. That's the best way, by the way, that you can honor him. Open up your pocketbooks. They don't have enough money there, right? Clearing like $100 million a year. They don't have enough. Open up your pockets, keep his show going, and don't ask questions is obviously the clearest way that we can honor Charlie Kirk. They want him lionized, and they did try to lionize him immediately as the most Judeo-Christian goy ever, right? He was basically, why not just put him in a yarmulke in some of these AI photos? That would make more sense. The direction, I mean, so instant. It's like just like trying to establish the legacy, right? And keeping with that, we want this to be honorific, not actually trying to solve what happened here. For Charlie's birthday, President Trump signed into law or established rather a holiday. And he decided that October 14th, which is Charlie Kirk's birthday, would be a national day of remembrance for Charlie Kirk. Okay? And I'm going to tell you how I feel about that. Truly Zionists that infiltrated my book club, you did not need to pay the $9.99 to find out how I feel about this. I don't know why people think I'm hiding how I feel. It's very weird. Like, when did people go, oh, we have to try to listen in to hear what she really thinks? I'll tell you what I really think. I think it's crap. Okay? What I said in my book club holds. It's never good when the feds are lining up to give you a holiday. Not good. You know, Martin Luther King vibes. I don't Martin Luther King Jr. I think maybe the feds definitely killed Martin Luther King Jr. But in school, we get to learn about him. He's got this whole holiday. Oh, he was such a great, I love that I have a dream speech. Oh, the feds. Oh, man, you're good. You were so great. It's unfortunate that we had to murder you. I don't like it because the best way to honor Charlie Kirk is very obvious. Figure out who killed him first. Let's celebrate the holiday later. I want to figure out who killed him first. And so I'm struck by this. I'm struck by Trump and the lack of demand, the lack of.
So notice what she's doing. She says the feds, they should find out who did this to Charlie Kirk, right? That would be the best way of honoring Charlie Kirk. So right now, the feds, they have who? Tara Robinson in custody. They're actually doing the investigation. You don't have to like it, but we are following her logic, okay? We know the feds are investigating. We know the feds have Tara Robinson in custody. We know the judge has issued a gag order. So there's things that are actually happening there. So, but Candace is saying that if Trump wants to do something, they need to find somebody. Like, no, the administration, right? They have found somebody. They're actually doing. Their prosecution is going on. She is the one who says it's not Tara Robinson. So wouldn't it make sense for her to say, guys, you've got the wrong person. Here is the correct person. Here is the correct information. Here is the correct evidence. Follow this. No. The same feds that she's denouncing right now, she wants the same feds to be doing something. So the question is, are the feds doing something right now? Yes or no? Candace, will you please respond?
Pushing on the narrative. Trump has really represented himself, at least as me, someone who voted for him twice. He represented himself as an individual who didn't trust the federal establishment. This feels like an easy layup here. Your friend, he viewed you in many ways like a father figure, right? Hey, feds, what's going on here? And I said, maybe he did, because I was in this aggrieved stage and I really didn't poke my head up until weeks later when I could stop crying about it every second. And I said, maybe I missed it. Maybe Trump did actually say this is crap. Maybe he did call for an investigation. And we did a search on Truth Social to see how many times President Trump tweeted or Truth Social calling for further investigation into Charlie Kirk's murder. And there was only one tweet that we could find to that effect. And this tweet is not what I would describe as him calling for an investigation into Charlie Kirk's murder, actually. Here it is. This is the only one we could find. Why was the wonderful Turning Point under investigation by deranged Jack Smith and the corrupt and incompetent Biden administration? They tried to force Charlie and many other people and movements out of business. They weaponized the Justice Department against sleepy Joe Biden's political opponents, including me. They allowed the daughter of a judge of one of the corrupt trials against me to become the biggest fundraiser for Biden and Kamala, making millions of dollars for herself and her family. But with her father, the judge, not only refusing to recuse himself, but putting a gag order on me, not allowing any talk about their family corruption and unprecedented conflict of interest. Well, that's not going to age well, the gag order thing, is it? Every leading legal analyst and pundit said this trial was wrong and should not have been allowed to go forward. But it did because of a corrupt judge who will hopefully pay a very big price for his illegal action someday. Okay. Scale of 1 to 10, how much is that do you feel about Charlie Kirk?
So what is she saying here? According to her, Donald Trump is not doing anything about this situation, right? This is what she wants us to believe. However, the question is, who is the FBI director? What's his name? Kash Patel. Who does he work for? Which administration is he representing? Which administration is he representing? Okay? Is this the Donald Trump administration? So this idea of her pretending like they are not doing anything about it, it's actually a lie. Okay? Because remember, it's going to be Utah, right? Utah against Tara Robinson. Because he killed somebody, it's a state crime as well as a federal crime, right? So that's exactly what's happening. It is the Trump administration that's actually doing something about it. You don't have to like it. That's not the point that I'm trying to make over here. But she's trying to pose it as if the administration is not doing anything as it relates to this case. But we know that's not true. Remember, it was the FBI director, okay? To me, she's better off questioning that because, like, what is the FBI director doing on a press conference about the case? That's not what directors are supposed to be doing, okay? And Kash Patel was there. What is the director out here tweeting out that, oh, they have somebody else in custody and it was actually a wrong person? The director is not supposed to be doing that. And that's what Kash Patel was doing. You have a case right there. That's not what she's saying, guys. That's not what she's saying. She says those things a bit like, yes, you're right, Candace. Yes, you're right, Candace. That's not what she's saying. So notice what she said. She said that when this incident happened, she did not poke her head like she was, out there in a grieving situation, instead not doing anything out. Okay? Let's see if that statement is actually true. Okay? Take a look at this. So this is what Candace had to say, right? Watch this real quick.
Because I was in this aggrieved stage and I really didn't poke my head up until weeks later when I could stop crying about it every second. Charlie Kirk, my friend, is dead. First, this is fantastic that Preborn is doing this. Exactly why I partner with Preborn. So I want to remind you guys about Pure Talk. Also reminding you guys about American financing. Also reminding you guys about GNO land. Also telling you guys about Just Thrive. I really didn't poke my head up until weeks later when I could stop.
Yeah, so we know that is not true. Okay, that's not true. In reality, just 6 days after Kirk's death, Candace had already started her show, dedicating her content entirely to conspiracies. Okay, Owens wants people to believe that no one was hit harder by Kirk's death, and that no one is working harder to investigate the truth about it. In reality, arguably, no one is profited more from it, and that's just a fact. She has made dough in this issue more than anybody, and that is her. So 6 days later, she's doing all sorts of things. That's just there. But she wants people to believe that she's the only one who has been, or who was heartbroken as far as Charlie Kirk is concerned. She's the only one who is doing something about it. Remember, when you're doing something, you know what I mean? Don't let your left hand see what your right hand is doing. There's people who are just doing things quietly behind the scenes and they're not making noise about it, okay? So to my knowledge, I know, what's his name? Officer Tatum, maybe he's finished raising the money. They raising $1 million so they can give that money to Erica Kirk. And they've made a t-shirt. So all the profits from that t-shirt are going to the Kirk's family. So the question is, what has Candace done in terms of helping to the Kirk's family? Do we know? Because she's telling us she's the only one who is doing something about it. We know the other people, you know what I mean? They are putting their money where their mouth is by raising all that. But she already says like, oh, why are they raising money for Turning Point? They say as if they don't already create out $1 million. So you're saying like, okay, Turning Point has all this other money, but you're also telling us that, oh, there's something fishy going on with the money. Which is it, Candace Owens? If this lady would listen to the things that she says, I don't think she'll continue to be doing what she's doing. Because she's just saying things, contradicting herself left and right. And obviously, it's Candace Owens, okay? Nobody's there checking her. But we are out here, guys, okay? So let's continue to hear the accusations of the president. Here we go.
I don't know what to think of that. I don't know what to make of that. Like I said, it's pretty obvious. They want us to just look at everything and go, case closed. Don't you see? We're all united. We're standing up here. We're giving him a holiday. We're signing that. And we've got all these photographers here. Turning Point's chief fundraiser lady here. And she's crying. So obviously she loved Charlie. Kash Patel was there. Of all the people, unbelievable to me. They're here. Prakash Patel's here, so you can see we're all united. You can totally trust the FBI science now. We're ruling out corruption. That's why we don't know what Jeffrey Epstein files are talking about. Because look, all we had to do was win against Democrats and corruption would be over. Are we still talking about Jeffrey Epstein? I'm sorry. You know, I've realized something actually and truly they made.
I wonder why she didn't do the series on the Epstein files. Because there, we'll follow you there, Lady Candace, okay?
Retrospect, the absolute best decision not inviting me to speak at Charlie's memorial. Like, kudos to whoever made that call.
No, lady, you were not going to get invited. And besides, you didn't even need an invitation. It was open, okay? If anybody who wanted to go to the memorial, it was open. You didn't have to pay, okay? You get your ticket, it was free, you go to the memorial. If Candace wanted to go, she could have easily gone. Literally, she would have easily gone, okay? So, no, it wasn't about you being invited. So she knew, she didn't go, okay? But she expected that she would have been invited to be one of the speakers, okay? So obviously, in order for you to be a speaker, they had to invite you to speak. They didn't invite her to speak. But if she wanted to go and honor her best friend, she could have just gone there, regardless whether she was a speaker or not. But she didn't. Okay? She didn't. She wasn't invited to speak. Not only that, there were people there, I mean, like pretty much the entire administration, you know what I mean? The Secretary of Education and everything. Other people who were speaking there, I'm like, did you even know Charlie Kirk? Okay? So there were people there who spoke. Clearly, we know they were not even close to Charlie Kirk. Candace was the best friend to Charlie Kirk. So yes, she could have been top up there to be able to, to be one of the speakers. No, she wasn't invited. So are you telling me Turning Point is not aware that Candace Owens was the best friends to Charlie Kirk? So these people at Turning Point didn't want to invite Charlie Kirk's best friend to be one of the speakers at Turning Point USA. All right, that's fine. She missed that. What about at the White House when they were honoring Charlie Kirk, right? Gave her the Medal of Freedom, I think something like that. Or that. How come she wasn't invited there? Why wasn't she not there? So now she wants to pretend that, they made a good decision not to invite me. No, we're not buying that. We're not buying that.
All because I would have just been on my best Kanye. I would have jumped on stage and just grabbed the mic from Susie Wiles or someone and said, are you kidding me? What is going on here? What is happening? Even Trump's speech, remember when he just kind of worked in the story about Charlie interviewing a fourth grader and he was referring to Breland Holland? And I'm saying Holland, by the way, because that was his name when Charlie interviewed him. Because Trump wasn't there, nothing to do with Trump. When Charlie went on that fourth grader's podcast, his name was Breland Holland, and I was next to him. It was me and Charlie. What a weird story for Trump to just obscurely pluck out of thin air to say on stage at his memorial. He wasn't there. He had nothing to do with him.
So, what is this information got to do with finding out what happened to Charlie Kirk? So this lady, like I said, you know what? Are we wondering at this point, guys? We're just asking questions, okay? She is so jealous that all the things that have happened at this whatever Turning Point, the memorial, not even one time was Candace Owens' name mentioned. Her name was never mentioned. Her pictures, she has pictures, they were never shown. There were people who've been mentioned. There are people who've been honored. Candace Owens' name has not appeared. And Turning Point USA is going on. They're filling up the arenas. They're adding chapters. And they're having speakers, okay? And Candace Owens has not been one of the speakers who's been invited, okay? Ben Shapiro was there. You had the people from Daily Wire, they were there. You had the vice president there. You had Ali Bestak there. You had everybody, you name it. They are going to all these places. And the only person who happens to be the best friend to Charlie Kirk is not on the list.
All lies will be exposed. That's
so
all.
She wants to pretend that she's out here doing all this work. All I ask is, if this woman was the best friend to Charlie Kirk, If this woman was so important to Charlie Kirk's mission, life, and everything, how come right now they have a whole bunch of people who are going to these campuses speaking? Candace Owens is not one of them. I repeat, Candace Owens is not one of them. Mrs. Farmer is not one of them. So are you telling me nobody at Turning Point is aware that Mrs. Farmer was the best friend to Charlie Kirk? This lady, oh man.
The kid had some connections and, of course, was really sweet and adorable and in fourth grade and super polite and energetic and was like, I'd love to interview you. I can't remember who the guy was who was his dad. I got him to interview with us. And all of a sudden, Trump's just saying the story on stage at Charlie's memorial as if he was there. And he wasn't. So what's going on? Regarding Kash Patel showing his face there, I legitimately do not know how these people do it, okay? I would literally die from shame. I would pass away right immediately from shame before I would show up to that event if I was Kash Patel. Like, did they breed it out? Is this a new breed of human that I don't know about? Where you feel nothing, there's just nothing. It's like a Josh Hammer thing. They don't feel any sense of.
Well, Kash Patel was invited. Candace Owens wasn't invited. So Kash Patel was invited. Candace Owens was invited. So Candace Owens is not happy that Kash Patel was invited. That's not your call, woman. That is not your call. That is not your call. So she is jealous once again. She was the best friend to Charlie Kirk. All of a sudden, it's people like Kash Patel being given an opportunity to speak, having the VIP seating. And Mrs. Farmer is nowhere to be found. After all, she was the BFF to Charlie Kirk. Man, this issue is eating her up. So as a result, what's she going to do? This is a way for her to vent. This is a way for her to strike back at these people. Notice what she's doing. She's mentioning everybody. The only person that she's actually not actually mentioning the name is Erica Kirk. Okay? But by implication, Erica Kirk is already implicated. She doesn't have to spell out her name. She doesn't even have to spell out her name. So I'm like, the way this lady is all about these conspiracies and all this, I'm very surprised that she did one of the video that she did because, they broke the internet. Okay? It says that grace goes a long way, special process giving way. We anticipate. So, Charlie, I'm sorry, guys. I lost my thought a little bit over here. The vice president, the vice president and Erica Kirk, they broke the internet, okay? So I'm just gonna bring this out to you guys. That way you just know whatever else is going over here, okay? But knowing this lady, Candace Owens, the fact that she hasn't said anything about this, I'm like, I know you like to talk, but you're not gonna say anything about this, no, given her. So I'm like, okay, so she knows that she can say about things, but I guess if even saying anything towards Erica Kirk, even for her, she knows this might be a bridge too far, so she's not doing it, okay? So watch this. This is Erica Kirk introducing the vice president, okay? We'll carry on with that thing, but I'm just trying to show you, like, she has made so many accusations about people, and this thing is broke internet. Millions of it actually went viral, and the vice president had to respond some kind of way, and Candace Owens has not said a peep. I'm like, watch this. Okay, so that was Erica Kirk introducing the vice president at one of the, campuses, okay, where they're speaking. So when she walked on the stage, okay, I'll let you guys watch this. I'm not going to play because I think there's the music that's playing. So you get to see what broke the internet, okay? So this broke the internet. I'll rewind it a bit. Oh, man. Yeah. So they're playing the music. I didn't want to play the music, okay? So this is, introduced and then, okay? You see that, okay? So, but they took out the pictures of, you know how it is over the internet. This is the stuff that's going on the internet right now, okay? It's nonstop. So they, okay, whatever, the hug wasn't proper. It's too, that's what these people are going to do when it comes to the internet, okay? So let me find the pictures so I can show it to you. I don't think, knowing this is Candace Owens, okay, she's just not going to let something like this like just go to the wayside, okay? This would be a story for her. But she knows she's not going to say anything as it relates to Candace. Okay, hold on. I can't even find the picture now. Okay, so maybe we should just leave it. But you guys get the point because I wanted you guys to see the picture, knowing that Candace Owens, I'm like, wait a minute. She's not saying anything about this. Like, no. This late. Oh, I found the picture. So this is the picture here, okay? So this is a picture of Erica and J.D. Vance, right? She gave a hug and then her hand moved up to the hair over there. Oh my goodness. So the internet broke over that. And then J.D. hugged, but the hand was on the waist. That did not. Oh yeah, I found this one. So take a look at this. All right, here we go. Okay, so so this one is better. Okay, so this is the picture that has broken the internet. This stuff is going, it went viral. It's crazy. Okay, so a hand over there, I can agree. Like, you know what? Not a good look. Because she did hug him, and then like, okay, why are you moving your hand to his head over there in the hair? I agree, that's not a good look. You just hugging, there's no problem. And the vice president, the hand on the waist, not a good look as well, given the situation these people are married, okay? This doesn't mean anything, but we can acknowledge, okay, like you hug a man and then your hand is in his head, that is not a good look. So knowing everything we know about Candace Owens, she hasn't said anything, but she's out here telling us, oh, the Wikipedia, oh, now it's Donald Trump. So I'm like, so she even knows herself, like, okay, you know what? I'm just going to skate around everything else, but I'm just not going to mention Erica Kirk's name. Because she already says she's going to war with Turning Point USA. Who is in charge of Turning Point USA? Because she says she's going to war with Turning Point USA. And she's not happy with the succession plan. What is the succession plan going on at Turning Point USA? And Erica says she knows everything. She has the blueprint, the whole 9 yards. So I'm like, wait a minute. So if you are for real, Candace Owens, that you're actually doing this investigation, I see anything, say anything about Erica Kirk. So I just brought that up. But yeah. What are you guys saying before we continue? Okay. Adam Toba, good to see. Without a doubt, she could win an Oscar for her acting talent. Oh, a great dramatic is shame. She's tragic. No. Now you have audio. Yes, the other one, like I didn't want an audio because there was music playing. Okay? So sorry about that. I just wanted you guys to see the picture and whatever. But, back to our lady over here. Amy Miller, good to see you. She done blame the Egyptians. Hey, guys, like, yes. Now it's Egyptians on the plane. So right now, we are on the Trump issue, but the plane, the stuff was actually debunked. You know what I mean? Because she keeps saying she doesn't know the people who were in the plane. Well, what if the plane, there was nobody there, it was just a pilot? Because I think the person who owns the plane came out and issued a statement. There was no there, but she's continuing. So, okay, but you don't know who was in the plane. that's not enough information. There are planes going around every day, 24/7. So yeah, okay. Yes, no. That the hug does not look good. I 100% agree. Like, yeah, just like, okay, like there's nothing wrong with hugging, but wait a minute. Your hand in someone else's head, whatever. No, it absolutely does not look good. So the point is, like, so Candace is on this quest, is doing other things. She didn't say anything about this issue. You know what I mean? So maybe there are people be like, yes, you're right, Candace. The hand doesn't look good. What's happening on the waist situation? Married and the widow, not a good look. And then when he was asked about his wife being a different faith, the whole 9 years, I was just like, you guys, you need to get your, they need to do better, okay? So far, the PR is not, the PR is not good. They need to hire Olivia Pope right now, if you ask me. All right, guys, I am so glad that you guys are here. Let us continue to this investigation. Okay, so hopefully we are making strides here. I'll tell you what, if Candace Owens says something that's actually legit, I have no problem. She did a video, talked about one of the camera person, okay? He rushed to be doing selfies, filming himself, saying, oh, Charlie Kirk, whatever. I agree with her, like that wasn't a good look. What are you doing, rushing to your phone, doing selfie? Your friend has been shot and everything else. Why chasing a viral moment? So yes, the culture that we have, rushing to phones, those are things are wrong. I do agree with her there. If she had brought this video about, the pictures of, Mr., Erica Kirk and the vice president and everything, I'll be like, you know what, you're right, Candace. This is not a good look. But she's out here telling us to, now we are on Donald Trump. But Donald Trump did not honor Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk rode on Air Force 2. Who had to give that order for Charlie Kirk remains to travel by Air Force 2? The entire administration was at the memorial. Who gave that order, the entire administration, to go to the memorial? They had a special ceremony at the White House. Who gave that order for them to have that special ceremony? The president was there. The first lady was there. And the holiday. You see what I'm saying? So all of a sudden, now, you're going to accuse Donald Trump that he's not doing enough. Honestly, guys, is that true? Well, I just showed you the picture right now. The vice president is out there at the Turning Point USA event. On whose orders is he there? So to say that they haven't honored Charlie Kirk, I think it's a lie. And who is she to say that they did not honor Charlie Kirk? Erica Kirk should be saying that. By the way, they actually even offered that his body could have lay in state at the Capitol. That's only reserved for lawmakers and politicians. Charlie Kirk wasn't a lawmaker, but that was extended to him. How many people do you know their dead body traveled on Air Force 2? Hello? And the vice president was carrying the casket. How many people can say the same thing? So to say that Charlie Kirk was not honored, guys, it is a lie. Candace Owens, that's not even your place to be saying that. Erica Kirk is in all on these events. If she didn't want part of this, why is she attending all these events? If she doesn't want any of these things. So she's lying to you guys. But here we go, guys.
Of shame at all, and they can just go and pretend that you're honoring. I don't understand it. I truly don't understand it, because I have to be a different species from whatever that is. I would melt. I'd rather melt into the floor than show my face, knowing how badly I was dropping the ball. The whole world was dropping the ball. How do you show up to work, Kash Patel? And the answer is he shows up to work and he demands that everybody stop looking into it because he's got it under control. He's got a very small team of people at the FBI that are allowed to touch anything pertaining to the Charlie Kirk case because, this is transparency. Finally, the adults are in charge and it's going to be the most transparent administration ever, except on the Jeffrey Epstein stuff or the Charlie Kirk stuff, who's a friend of the administration. We got to be a little bit opaque on. Real headline, New York Times yesterday, pertaining to how upset Kash Patel was when he received an inquiry from Joe Kent, Tulsi Gabbard's office. They lead the National Counterterrorism Center, Joe Kent does. And him inquiring about details into this apparently alarmed Kash Patel. Because Kash Patel was alarmed. He called a meeting, in fact, right? He wanted to investigate the assassination pertaining to Joe Kent. They were like, hey, maybe people overseas were involved in his murder. Maybe they were thinking, BB's saying too much. Can we just look at these files? It's our job, overseas terrorism. And Kash Patel was so alarmed by this, so alarmed that they would look into these files that he held a meeting apparently. Oh, what are you? This is not appropriate. It's not appropriate for you to be looking into this. Okay? We don't want you knowing whether or not there was a foreign power or another entity that was involved in this. And this is the reason that Kash Patel decided to have a meeting with Susie Wiles and Joe Kent and Tulsi Gabbard and Trump officials. I think it said J.D. Vance was in this meeting as well, and nothing was accomplished. Because why wouldn't you, if you're the most transparent administration ever, share, get the help? Hey, we're supposed to be partners in this. Don't we all want to find out who killed Charlie Kirk? And the answer is no, we don't all want to find out who killed Charlie Kirk. I think that's apparent, right? It's pretty obvious that we do not all want to find out who murdered Charlie Kirk because they're not acting right. Nobody is acting right now. And it's stunning. We are making so many discoveries in this case. And I have to tell you guys, we're getting close. We're getting close, very close, I think, to what actually happened on that day. And I'm getting the suspicion that there were some foreign entities involved. So Joe, Kent, Tulsi Gabbard, if you guys by any chance see this episode, keep going, right? We're just going very slowly here. Set the bait. We're going to see who lies about what. And when we get back from this break, I'm going to tell you another stunning turning point lie that came out. And you're going to start feeling some type of way about the people who are all apparently mourning him. And the best way to mourn, of course, is to lie. We'll be right back after a quick break. All right, you guys.
Yes, she'll be right back after, no problem. I'm not against, getting her coin over there. But when people are trying to pretend that they're not about the coin, that's the issue. So as far as the issue, Kash Patel, he's the FBI director. Then you have Tulsi Gabbard, national security and everything. If they have information that can help out this investigation, I think it's only fair for the FBI and those people to be able to see that information, not to shut it down. You know what I'm saying? If what she's saying is actually true. But we do know whatever else transpired at that meeting, they are not going to make that information public. Why? Because the investigation is going on. They are going to go to trial and all those other things, they're going to be They're going to come to light. So for now, there's nothing we can do. There's no way for us to verify. Because remember, this is some sensitive stuff out here, right? So, that's what the news is reporting. There's nothing we can do about that information. But if I'm a lawyer, I'm taking note of that, and I can demand that. You know what I'm saying? And be like, okay, you know what? We have this information. The FBI, can you provide us? Because remember, the prosecution, right? The ones who are bringing the charges, right? They have to turn all the evidence they have against Ty Robinson to the defense team. And the defense team is going to examine all that evidence, and they will be able to cross-examine all that. So if something is missing, they'll be able to bring up like, okay, we are aware that there's this type of information. How come that information is not making the cut? You know what I mean? Those are things that can happen. And even if, let's just grant that it's true that Kash has information, Tulsi Gabbard doesn't have all these other things, do you think those people are going to take that information and give it to Candace Owens? The answer is no. They're not going to give it to her. The answer is no. They're not going to give it to her. So that there's nothing that can happen as far as on that front is concerned, if you ask me. Okay? So what are you guys saying so far? Okay? So we have established that the lady here, she's made her dough, okay? And there's the Egyptian thing going on. The Egyptians have been implicated, okay? And now here, the Ukrainians have been implicated. The Ukrainians have been implicated. It's just like, oh my goodness. When is this thing going to stop? So before we continue, guys, Leila Rose, okay? Candace Owens mentioned her in one of her videos. So now Leila Rose is responding to Candace Owens, okay? So I'm like, wait a minute. So Leila has also been implicated in all this. So let's take a look at this before we continue, okay? She's big with pro-life. She's also a Catholic. So I didn't understand why Candace had to throw Layla's name in all this situation. But once again, this is Candace Owens. Okay, here we go, guys.
Lila Rose, right? Catholic, does this whole, speaks about, she's always been very lovely to me, speaks about the pro-life movement and converted to Catholicism and got a story there. I met her through Marissa, it's kind of the same people funding both. And it was kind of interesting. Like when I would see Lila kind of jump on the attacking the Christ is King or trying to rationalize why we shouldn't say Christ is King all the time. And she was like the lone Catholic that was doing that. And I then got super interested in her when she messaged me about Andrew Tate. And she had someone on her show that was Andrew Tate's, one of the accuser's lawyers. And I was like, this has nothing to do with the pro-life movement. What are you doing? I asked her. And she's like, well, and that woman then attacked me and Tucker Carlson. I said, that's weird. Like, that's kind of random. You're supposed to be the pro-life person. And you're talking about, and you're talking to Andrew Colvet's, the party to that lawsuit. You're talking to her lawyer. Why on your show? Why are you the first show she would pick? Why doesn't she go on like CNN or Fox News? And I looked, and of course, yeah, you got military all over that background. And I'm going, is anything not military? I'm looking at Barry Weiss.
So this was a segment from a show that Candace was doing this week where she went through a bunch of people in a line and was saying that they all had military connections. And the insinuation, sort of the background on all of this was sort of a negative insinuation. They're negatively connected to the military and somehow they're not to be trusted because of this. And, you know, I just want to say that I was disappointed to see this from Candace because I'm very proud to be married to my husband. Many of you may know that he served in the U.S. military, and I'm very proud of that. And I think military members should be given actually our respect. And I'm very grateful that my husband served. He no longer is in the military, but he did serve, and I'm proud of him. So I was just disappointed to see this insinuation that, you know, bringing him into this very randomly. Again, I don't think I've been in touch with Candace very much, a little bit, and for her to just kind of suddenly randomly do this was very surprising to me, and of course surprising to get those messages. And then another thing that was just a bit odd to me was this insinuation that it's odd for me to talk about anything other than pro-life or abortion specifically. And anyone who watches this show for the last over 2 years knows what we talk about on the show, and certainly pro-life and abortion is absolutely essential. We talk about that a lot, but you'll know that we talk about so many other issues: spirituality, health, faith, politics, so much more. And so it's sad to me when I see these insinuations that are made, not just about myself, but perhaps other people, and a narrative that seems to be suggested when it is so far from reality. So wanted to leave it at that. And I just want to say I love Candace. I wish her the very best. And if she ever wants to talk to me, she is more than welcome to reach out, and I would be very happy to chat with her. So that is what I wanted to say there. I do want to also address something from JD Vance that happened at a TPUSA.
Okay, so that's Layla Rose responding to Candace Owens, because for some reason, this is what she's doing. She's just mentioning people's name, dropping names of people there, and it's not by coincidence. Because Layla Rose was just like, oh no, the next minute my husband is going to be implicated, because the issue is military, remember? So it's military. So Candace was just like, oh, this girl, she's just about pro-life. Why is she getting into all this? Before you know it, people will be suspecting her. That's why I'm saying, like, oh my gosh, if you have evidence, can you bring it? Can you bring it? And to me, I was like, Layla Rose, oh, like, wait a minute. So now, because Layla Rose's husband happens to be a veteran, that is enough for him to be accused. Okay? You guys don't have sound? What are you guys talking about? Please tell me you have sound. I hope you guys have sound, okay? You guys, if you don't have sound, you guys have sound. I can see that you have sound. So, you know, put a 1 over there if you have sound. But I take it you have sound. So, wait a minute. Oh, yeah. Okay, I did feature. So, why is this saying the chat is so behind, guys, for some reason? She's bought an F for Kashmir and Tarsi. Watch her. All right. Okay, you guys have sound. Okay, that's good. I think there must be like a delay or something. But I'm so glad that you guys are here. So that was Layla Rose trying to set the record straight, because she knows that all these name drop that Lady Candace is doing, it's not good for her. Okay? Because, hey, man, now people start looking at her funny. So just like, okay, you're forcing people to come in and to sort of like defend themselves for some reason or the other, which is, you know, it's weird. Okay? You ask me, it's weird. So let's get back to Mrs. Farmer over here with her information. Here we go, guys. Thank you for being here.
Candace. All right, so Mikey McCoy is missing from the Charlie Kirk show. He seemed very happy to jump in that seat thereafter. I think we were all expecting after this video went viral that we would hear from him regarding his actions there as soon as Charlie got shot. We were told by Andrew Colvett, who is now missing from today's episode of the Charlie Kirk show, that it was because Charlie was very explicit. Charlie said, if I ever get shot at an event, the left side of my neck, the first thing I want you to do is not help me. Okay. And how could we not do anything but trust the science here? We just got to trust science. We'll never know, okay? Because I guess they're not going to show us call logs, not going to do anything, just easily put away any of these quote unquote conspiracies that are unhealthy. And I wanted to show you this comment. It was actually under his show yesterday. Well, actually might have been the day before that, regarding Charlie's unique instructions to his friends, right? This is a comment. Charlie's instructions are actually insane. Number one, leave me with no help or first aid. That is true. He was not administered any first aid. I have close-up videos of that. Very strange to me because that's what they're supposed to be experts in. No gauze taken out, nothing, not even securing the wound as they carried him to the hospital. And I do not accept, by the way, that it was because things were crazy. He literally pays you millions of dollars of years to know what to do, security team, when things are crazy. Are you still employed? Did you fail at your one job? I don't know. We're going to find out. Anyways, his second instruction, this lady writes, film your reaction in selfie mode. Charlie must have wanted it. It's what he would have wanted, I think. He would have wanted it. I don't know. 3, take all the SD cards just in case. Secure the footage and never reveal it to anyone but the feds, who have always been so trustworthy. And 4, quickly cover the scene in case anybody wants to get justice for me. Yeah, that really is. Those are some instructions. Did Charlie Kirk have any real friends? What do you guys think? Because the more that time goes by, the more upset I am at everyone who's lying about every little thing. And I wouldn't mean literally little things. Right? Not even the big things, but the little things. That's why the Catholic point made me so upset when I very gently said, oh, we thought he was close to converting. He was going to the mass. And then suddenly Operation Mocking Pastor or Mocking Evangelical Influencer went out and they all were like, that's not true. That's not true. And I'm like, what do you mean it's not true? Don't be absurd. Don't be absurd. Why lie? I reflect on that moment. And I think it was right after the memorial service, a couple of days after the memorial service, where Alex Clark released that interview with her and Andrew Colvett, and they struggle sessioned through that. They were like, no, they were both committed evangelicals, and him and Erica, and he liked the smells and the bells. He loved the architecture, but there was no more substance for him. I really struggled with that, and I struggle with it even more now that I know that Charlie Kirk, there's been a lot of questions about what about his burial? How come we haven't seen anything about his burial? We saw so much and then we saw nothing. And the reason that's like a big hush-hush secret is because Charlie had a Catholic funeral mass and he is buried in a Catholic cemetery. Yeah, but really it was about the architecture. I want you to understand. Why the little lies? I think we can only speculate that it's because they're worried about the money, right? They do not want to upset the very same people who were pressuring Charlie Kirk. And I love when they say, oh, another thing Andrew said in that interview, they're only a small portion of our donors relative to the rest of our donors. Okay, but are they cutting the bigger checks? Like Bob Showman took $2 million away. That's got to mean something. If you brought in $70 million last year and he took away $2 million just like that, are they cutting the bigger checks? Because that's relevant. And I think the answer to that is yes. I think they insisted and are pressuring them, as we are hearing.
Okay, so this issue, right? The Catholic situation, guys. Let's stop here a little bit. So these are the things that actually came out, right? Like, okay, you know what I mean? Charlie was wearing a necklace, St. Christopher, for protection. Megyn Kelly said that the day before Charlie Kirk died, they had a Jezebel had cast a spell. They called for a priest to come to their home to cast whatever, and they were going to a mass. And, COVID said the same thing, that yes, he was attending the mass. And Josh Hammer said Erica Kirk is Catholic, that he did like the architecture, all those other things, right, as it relates to Catholicism. But Charlie Kirk, did not convert to Roman, like he wasn't a Roman Catholic. This is information that came out, right? So Candace Owens did insinuate that Charlie Kirk was praying the Rosary, had that type of communication with with Candace Owens, okay? My thing is this, right? I personally, this is an issue, okay? This issue is not coming out of woodwork. Because if, it's on record that, yes, these are the things that he did attend Mass and everything, okay? Just because he wasn't on the membership roll of Roman Catholic Church, whatever that is, simply him attending the Mass, going to the Catholic, it is absolutely an issue because he was an evangelical. And today is the Reformation Day. Happy Reformation Day. Shout out to the Reformation. Okay? So this is not like, oh, he had a Presbyterian funeral. No big deal. But him having a Catholic funeral, it's not a small thing, guys. Him being buried at a Catholic cemetery, you can be buried anywhere. No big deal. But having a Catholic funeral, that is absolutely a big deal. Okay? We shouldn't whitewash that issue. There is no fellowship between, if you're Protestant, we are protesting. Simple reformander, always reforming. We left Rome because of their doctrine. We don't believe in the same things. Okay? We don't believe in the same thing. These people believe the Mass. You need to be attending Mass for your salvation. You need, they're praying to Mary. They're believing the Pope is the vicar of Christ. He speaks, he sits there. He can speak ex cathedra. Whatever the church is infallible. That's not what the Bible teaches, okay? The Bible, the scriptures, the word of God is what's infallible. Not, quote unquote, whatever the church, the magisterium. It's sola magisterium when it comes to Roman Catholic. So whatever the church says, that's fine. The scripture comes secondary. That's not the way. So I get it. Some Catholics might not understand why this is an issue, and the evangelical might not understand why this is not. So the issue is just like, so why is this issue keep coming to the surface? The Catholic thing coming to the surface. The Catholic thing coming to the surface. Okay? It's not in dispute. There's Catholics at Turning Point. They have Mormons. They have, Jewish people. You have evangelical. So when you mix all these faiths together, whatever you're going to have is going to be something else because we don't believe the same things. Superficially, we look like we believe the same things, but we don't. Okay? That's why you have over here, even this Rob McCoy guy, his New Apostolic Reformation, they're all about promoting the 7 mountains. And Charlie Kirk was for all about that. He said that so many times himself, right? It's all these issues, the 7 mountains mandate. Okay? So we cannot ignore that. We absolutely cannot ignore that. But we also know Candace Owens, it's not like she's bringing this information just to bring this information. No. She's trying to jab at the evangelicals. Oh, you thought Charlie Kirk was all evangelicals. Guess what? He was a Catholic this, Catholic that. So it's not coming from her like out of like in good faith. She's trying to score points. And if Turning Point also knows, they have a lot of evangelicals and everything, it will not be in their best interest for them to come out and say, oh, yes, Charlie Kirk had a Catholic funeral. He was doing all these other things. Because that issue, the evangelicals will be like, oh, hold up. You know what I mean? Should we continue or should we take a step back? So organization-wise to them, it's not in their best interest. So I get it. They would want to hide that. So, but this is the problem that the church is facing today. Because this big tent, we already did a video about this big tent. Where we are at right now, guys, there is no time to waste. We cannot open the door wide open for the sake of big tent. It's going to lead to compromise. You are going to compromise because you are chasing the big tent. You are chasing the big tent, you're going to look the other way because of certain things. Because Charlie had the big tent. You had the donors over there. They are not happy with Tucker Carlson. He wants to have Tucker Carlson. Tucker Carlson is a Catholic. He doesn't like Zionists. There's going to be a crash there. Most evangelicals are Zionists. You see what I'm saying? So there's going to be a crash there. So you need to decide, this is what you're doing. People come in or they don't come up. There is one direction that you're heading. That's why even right now, like yes, they are on all these campuses, you're going to convert these young men to MAGA. You're not going to convert these young men to Christianity. Because that's not how it works. Okay? It's one way to Christ. J.D. Vance is a Catholic. Tucker Carlson is a Catholic. Okay? Rob McCoy is no apostolic reformation. You name it. So all these things meshed together, whatever is going to have, it's not going to be revival. Because I hear this, there's a revival, No, you cannot have a revival without repentance. They believe in all sorts of things across the board. It's not the same thing. So is it any wonder that you have Candace Owens here scoring points on these evangelicals, the so-called issue about Catholic this, Catholic that? You tell me. So I did ask somebody, I'm going to share this with you, okay? So you can see. Let's go here. All right. So, because this issue has been going on, okay? So there's people who are saying what Candace Owens is saying is not true. But there's people, Catholic over here, they're saying it's actually true, okay? So you guys, I'll give you information, you decide. If you ask me, why is it that this issue is keep popping up, okay? And it shouldn't be brushed aside. Would you guys know Vodi Bukham, okay? If you were to find out that Vodi Bukham had a Catholic funeral mass when he died, would you ignore it? If you were to find out that Vodi Bukham was playing fast and loose with Catholic teaching, going to mass and everything, would you want to know it? Would you ignore it? You see what I'm saying? So we should not ignore it because it's Charlie Kirk. Okay? We should not absolutely ignore it. Okay? If something happens to me, there will not be a Catholic mass because I'm not Catholic. That's just not going to happen. I am not. So that cannot be ignored. But people are saying it's not true. But Candace Owens is saying that it is true. So you guys, you decide. Okay? So, however, there has been so much issues associated with this Catholicism over here that these people did agree. He did attend mass. There was a picture of him. Mass, they just said no, they were not Catholics. Okay? So if you're not Catholics, what are you doing at a Catholic church? And Rob McCoy, his church is in California. So what church was Charlie Kirk and the family going to in Arizona? Who was his pastor in Arizona? Because Rob McCoy is in California. But I want you guys to see this, okay? Because we wanted to find this information out. So I did ask, what does it do? Why is it doing like that? I want you guys to be able to read it as well. It's too small. Okay, I'm going to get out on the screen so you can see. Okay. Okay, so this is information, okay? And it says, no, Charlie was not a practical Catholic. No, Charlie was not a practicing Catholic. Unlike Candace, I can provide legitimate sources that aren't spun to fit conspirator narrative. This text to me is from one of the most connected and well-respected Catholics in conservatism. Okay? And I quote, I had dinner with Charlie not that long ago and discussed the Catholic stuff with him. He was not converting, but he was indeed getting closer for sure. We will never know if he would have converted, but I do believe he was on the road with all my heart. Okay? And this person, we've really been saying this entire time, that Charlie Kirk was practicing Catholicism. Okay? So then this person responded, this is John Root. He used to work for Turning Point USA once upon a time, and he does live in Arizona. He's a Christian, he's Reformed. He worked for Turning Point USA. He lost his job with Turning Point USA because he was calling them out in terms of them mixing with these questionable people's beliefs, different faiths. He's Reformed. So, and this is a matter of public record. John Rodri says, I know from actual reliable sources that Charlie Kirk did not have a Catholic funeral. It was not held at a Catholic church, nor did it include a mass. A real Candace Owens is a liar. Okay. All right, guys. So you heard all that, right? Okay, so that's the information that's there. Okay, so I was just like, okay, you know what? It's better just to ask. This guy had put out this information, like, okay, can you? Was Erica Kirk Catholic? He said no. Erica Kirk is not practicing Catholic. Did Charlie Kirk have a Catholic mass? He said no. And his reasoning was say, like, okay, he knows people who were there. So this is information that's out there, okay? Candace says what she said, and I've showed you guys the tweet that these people are saying from reliable sources. Okay? So, and then somebody put out, they did say that they know that there is no way you can have a Catholic funeral, a Catholic mass if you're not Catholic, and there's no way you can be buried at a Catholic cemetery if you were not a Catholic. So this is also caused an uproar on this Twitter, okay? And, you know, is there proof that Charlie Kirk had a Catholic mass funeral? Was he buried at a Catholic cemetery? So everybody is asking all these questions. So once again, Turning Point USA, right? There were all these accusations that came out with Mike McCoy. They ended up doing a program, issuing the statement and standing by Mike McCoy and saying that's not how things happen. He was on the phone because we do socials. And there were people did ask about, okay, was Charlie Kirk a Catholic? They put out a video saying like, no, he just liked to attend. So now there's this issue that has come out. Did Charlie Kirk had a Catholic funeral? Was Charlie Kirk buried at a Catholic mass? There's people who are saying no. There's people who are saying yes. The only people who can clear this issue once and for all is Turning Point. They can just say, yes, he had a Catholic funeral. No, he did not have. Yes, he was buried at a Catholic mass. No, he wasn't. They can say that. But so far, they haven't said anything. So far, they haven't said anything. So if you ask me, they need to say something about it. The only thing that I can see is just like, okay, two things here. Why are you not saying anything about it? Because if you say something about it, trust and believe, the evangelicals, that's not going to go well. So you got to protect the brand at the end of the day. If they keep quiet and these issues are going on, you'll be like, okay, which means it must be true. Because you guys, you responded to certain things, you're not responding to certain things. So you're doing selective response. I said this before. If they open the door of responding to what Candace Owens has said, they are going to set a precedence that when something happens, it will be required, expected of them to respond, whether they like it or not. That text message came out. They didn't even have to respond to that text messages. It had nothing to do with them. Candace Owens was daring them to respond, and that guy ended up responding. It ended up to be true. They didn't even have to respond. Whether true or false, they just keep quiet. Then people would have known Turning Point is not on the business of responding, but they responded. The Mike McCoy issue came out. Guess what? They responded. Now the Catholic issue is coming out. They're not responding. Why not? Shouldn't they respond? I think they should, because they've already set the precedent of responding. So that information, it's there. You guys, you do that what you will. If you ask me, this is not a good look, because I'm like, why is this Catholic thing keep coming up? What's going on there? Okay, but once again, this is also Candace Owens. But just like, okay, she did bring up the Rosary thing, whatever. But anyway, we are going to move on. But unless if you guys have questions, but you get the point what I'm saying over here, right? So the issue over here is just like, this is not whatever. Yeah. Brother Eric in the house, before we continue, what are you saying? Oh my God. Yes, Christians need to be careful about partnering with Catholics. Absolutely. I'm believing conservative actually violate. Oh, you always bring scripture, brother, all the time. So this is what I always say. Somebody can be a conservative and not a Christian. So because Christians are so gung-ho in partnering with everybody. That's why they extend their arms to have this big tent. So much so right now, there is so much infighting that's going on inside the MAGA. Tucker Carlson platformed Nick Fuentes. The people say, oh, you cannot platform Nick Fuentes. Yeah, those people are not Christians. They have different standards. To them, Nick Fuentes is conservative. It's going to help them to advance their cause. Christians are like, oh, no, wait a minute. He all these other things. So I say, you make the bed, you sleep in it. You create the monster, you feed the monster. Okay? You want to have a Christian nation. You cannot have a Christian nation without repentance, without revival. It has never worked that way, and it will never work that way. But these people are willing, quote unquote, to have a Christian nation without transformation of the heart. You cannot bypass the truth. You cannot bypass the scriptures. I'll do an episode about that, guys. I'm laughing right now, but we veered the other way. I saw this ish from the far. I'm like, no, man, God is not mocked. God is not mocked. So right now, Nick Fuentes is out there. Right? People are clapping for Nick Fuentes. Woo! Yes, they're clapping for Nick Fuentes. It's so fun. Okay? Why? We have the Joe Webbons out here.
Better get y'all discernment together. Some of y'all better get y'all discernment together.
Joe Webbon out here. You see what I'm saying? This is exactly what's happening, right? But I've wandered away, but we can do that some other time. But my point still remains the same, okay? So right now, I know how these people are. They're hearing about this Charlie Kirk, this Catholic, all this and everything else, but they've put so much their eggs in the Charlie Kirk movement, turning point, because they're bringing all these young men and everything else. They just want to ignore this Catholic thing like it's not a big deal. Why? What about all these young men that he's bringing? But are those young men coming to MAGA or are those young men coming to church? Which is it? Which is it? They're saying right now there's a revival. How can you have revival without repentance? How are you going to have the revival under the Catholic doctrine? How you have a revival under the New Apostolic Reformation, the NAR? How? But I have wandered away. Guys, I am so glad that you guys are here. Welcome. I looked, you couldn't find anything on where Charlie was buried or his funeral. So how does Candace know he had a Catholic funeral? She keeps saying this. So, yes, Shana, I am with you, right? Whatever happened, it was private. So, once again, clear, I'm sure she has her minions are giving her information, right? Because she came out with that text, and that text ended up being true. Andrew Covert said he sent it to people in the government. He sent it to other people. He has no idea how it got to Candace. But somehow it found Candace. And that issue was actually true. You see what I'm saying? So, the point that I'm making over here, Candace Owens could very well be 100% lying. Okay? But what is not in dispute is this issue, right? That Charlie Kirk was going to a mass. That's true. So there is connections with him, something to do with the Catholics, right? So is it far-fetched for people to come to this conclusion, the Catholic mass, the Catholic funeral? Other people are saying no, but the people who are saying no are also outside the Turning Point USA. So if you ask me, my personal opinion, do I believe it? I'll tell you, yes, I believe it. I would want enough information to prove otherwise. But I'm not saying you guys you should believe it because I believe it. But with the breadcrumbs that I'm seeing, looking the other things, I'm like, no, man. This is not looking good. I'm not out here wondering if MacArthur had a Catholic mass, if MacArthur was going to these other things, right? Like, why is this Catholic thing being associated with Charlie Kirk? Is it just out of vacuum? Is it just out of thin air? How come it's not associated with, he had a Mormon service. He was at the Mormon temple. You know what I mean? Or it was at the Hindu, whatever, you name it. Or at the mosque. Why is this Catholic thing? To me, is what I'm asking. But you guys, you can make that information what you will. I've shown it to you guys. The people who were a little bit closer there, Yeah. But all in all, Candace is riding on this issue, is riding on this issue. All right, what I said, to Hazard, bad Israel, bad DC. Yes, and also the problem is also the person who's bringing this information is Candace Owens with all these other stuff that it's doing. So she could be actually telling the truth, but is it wrong for people to discount her? No, they're not, because she has proven the stuff that she's doing. Just like, no, you've told us all these other thing that leads us to nowhere. You're just accusing people. Now, all of a sudden, why should we believe you about this issue? So, yeah, I don't blame anybody who doesn't want to believe it. Absolutely. And personally, for me, it's not like I'm believing this issue because of Candace Owens. No. I've looked into these other things, Yeah. But I get it. If nobody doesn't want to give a light of the day, fair. Absolutely fine. Yeah. Whatever information comes from this lady, you absolutely have to check it out, But that's there. And Candace is running on this issue. She's running steam right ahead on this issue. For real. All right, guys. Okay, so back to our programming over here, okay? All right, let's continue. I am so glad that you guys are here. Welcome. So, anyway, we're going to continue. I forgot where we were because we wandered away over here, guys. But I appreciate you guys being here. All right, let's continue. Here we go.
Idea that Charlie died pro-Israel. But to do that, to have the stomach to do that, to know that you knew where he was buried and attended that mass, and you had the stomach to sit down and to gaslight me. That's what you did. You were gaslighting me, actually. It was me, right? You didn't say my name, but you were referring to me, right? Oh, no, he was just the most committed evangelical. What's wrong with everybody? Why does nobody have just the spirit moving within them? Just like, I don't know. I would just be sickened with myself. I can't lie like that. I can't lie anywhere close to that. I can't even fib. And you're able to just sit up there like a soldier and just delude everybody, delude the masses, and sometimes do it through tears to be extra convincing. That's crazy to me. It's wild to me. Speaking on a note of who his friends are, I will tell you there was no one, like I said at the top of the show, that could have upset me more than Don Jr. Okay, Don Jr. was one of Charlie's friends, like brother, literally a brother. Don Jr., by the way, I would say was one of the people who very much helped to build Turning Point USA. He was there, okay? He did a ton of college campus events with me and Charlie, and we were always so grateful. I remember when Don Jr. started.
So if you're keeping score so far, Rob McCoy, Mike McCoy, Donald Trump, now Don Jr., okay? But we continue.
Following me, I have the text messages with Charlie. I was like, oh my, Don Jr. is following me. This is amazing. He would retweet me. The beginning of the Candace story includes Don Trump Jr. being probably, without question actually, the most committed Trump family member to Turning Point USA's early story, okay? And like I said, I know how Charlie felt about Don Trump Jr. So when Megyn Kelly asked him what he thought about the investigation into Charlie's assassination, I was expecting him to say, I think it's crap. But that is not what he said. In fact, he did his best not to answer the question, as you'll see. And then Megyn Kelly holds him to it, and then you'll hear what he says. Take a listen.
How do you feel about the investigation into Charlie's death? Can we have faith in it? Do you feel like it's being well handled?
So far, so far so good. I think, I've had this conversation with a lot of the guys that have been, very involved from the beginning, and others that are a big part of that movement that are, are going to take, more of a role. Guys like JD, like, hey, he believes we have to keep this going. People, myself, hey, I did a lot of them, but I got to do even more. We got to keep this going. There's never going to be a replacement for Charlie Kirk. You can't plug that in. But if we can find 10 people that can do 10% of what he did, and they go all in and do that, we can keep that alive. And honestly, we all owe that to him. Just
to round back, do you have confidence in the investigation? Should we have confidence in this FBI investigating?
I do, and I mean, I don't know. I don't like it when the people have the private, but I've spoken to everyone, around, and Erica, I do have confidence. And, when I start seeing some of the other stuff, it's like, man. And by the way, just so we're clear, as you all probably know, if you're here, you probably follow me a little bit. Like, I'm about as conspiratorial as it gets within the realm of sanity for good cause, right? I think I was the guy that first said, like, the difference between a conspiracy theory and the truth is usually about 6 months. I was the guy canceled for pushing all of the obvious things that were conspiracy theories that, Wuhan or whatever it may be, lab virus leak. The problem is that there is a cottage industry of just clicks and people that are more than happy to, to profiteer, off of that. Again, I'm not saying that a lot of this stuff isn't real and isn't true, and I've been pushing all of that, but some of the stuff does get a little bit off the rails, and I think, you're really, it's been used even by the other side as a way to distract from the bigger picture of what happened to him, of what the other side has proven that they are actually willing to do.
Man, oh man, so much I want to say that clip. Okay, the first thing that I want to say is that Don Trump Jr. is not a bad guy. Not a bad guy. Don Trump Jr. is probably maybe akin in some ways to Mikey McCoy. I look at Mikey McCoy, I don't know Mikey McCoy at all, and I don't think he's an evil person. I think he is in the shadow of his father, right? I think he's in the shadow of his father. I think Don Jr. has been...
After she accused Mike McCoy, now Mike McCoy is not a bad person. After I accused Mike McCoy's dad, Rob McCoy, like, what is she talking about? No. She is so angry and she's so bitter because she knows Don Jr. is talking about her without mentioning the name. Because who else is out here doing rah about Charlie in the conspiracy framework like what Candace Owens is doing? Right? So that's why she's so... I'm like, wait a minute. How is Don Jr. coming into this issue to be like a suspect in the Charlie Kirk situation? Why is she disappointed at Don Jr.? No, she's disappointed at Don Jr. because she knows Don Jr. is referring to Candace Owens. So what else is Candace going to do? She's just going to find a way to cast doubt on Don Jr. himself. And yet, Don Jr., shout out to Don Jr. over there. But I'm like, you guys, it's about time you need to be naming names. You cannot be going on these big platforms, okay, trying to protect Candace Owens somehow, some way, okay? It's crazy. There's no point of it. So now, while Candace Owens is doing this issue about Don Jr., is she aware that Meghan Kelly supports beliefs about the investigation, just like Don Jr.? Where's a video about Candace Owens calling out Meghan Kelly? Here is Meghan Kelly in her own words.
Leftist who murdered him because he didn't like Charlie's messaging on the trans issue. That is my firm belief after having talked to the people at Turning Point, the FBI, the security team that was on the ground, and many others. And I've come to that with a good faith basis, and I have nothing that would shake me from it. I don't begrudge anybody asking questions, and I understand the controversy around where she's gone with it, but I think it's really kind of a matter of your preference for your broadcaster. And, Candace is many people's cup of tea, and she's not other people's, and I'm the same. And I haven't responded well to people demanding that I try to police her speech.
No, nobody's... Yes, so that was Meghan Kelly responding to, because somebody had asked Meghan Kelly what she thinks about Candace Owens, okay? So here, because I think I missed something. Take a look at this.
So I don't listen to Candace's show, but I am 100% convinced that Charlie was killed by Tyler Robinson, a crazed leftist who murdered him because he didn't like Charlie's messaging on the trans issue. That is my...
Yep. So, lady, Mrs. Farmer, where is your video calling out Meghan Kelly? It's not there, but she's coming after Don Jr. Hey, let's hear a little bit more, guys. Here we go.
Probably in the shadow of his father his entire life, because what he's saying when he begins to credentialize himself and said, oh, I was up at the Wuhan, I said this about COVID, blah, blah, that's all true. That's the real Don Trump Jr. He was actually one of the people that was the most vocal about the Jeffrey Epstein files until Dad said, are we still talking about Jeffrey Epstein, right? And that's what I mean when I say someone who is in the shadow of his father. And it's a tough situation to be in. So I do want to be charitable in terms of thinking of that particular dynamic when Dad is saying this needs to be done. And you have to carry on knowing that you had a real relationship with Charlie, because you did have a relationship with Charlie. But Don, from me to you, it's better to say nothing. Okay? It's better to say, I'm just not going to answer that question. The best way you could honor Charlie Kirk, if you can't fight for him for some reason, is to simply say nothing. Because I looked at this clip and it bothered me for a lot of reasons, Don, because I know...
Why can't she take that advice? The best way for you, Lady Candace, is to keep quiet. Apply that advice to yourself instead of you worrying about what Don Jr. said. Okay? Candace did not like that because it was featuring her. More of that, please, from these people.
Who you are and know who you are. You're a hunter. You love to hunt, Don, right? Every picture of you, you're in the wilderness. Your whole life, you love to be in the wild. In fact, you taught me a lot about the wild and a lot about hunting. And my favorite fishing experience is actually with you, right? Fighting back the sea lions or the seals in British Columbia. You know nature. And I'm not going to ask you to go back against the nature of honoring your father, but I am going to ask you not to lie. And as a hunter, if you are not lying, and this is truly what you believe, you trust the investigation, I'm going to need you to make a video saying that you believe that Charlie was shot by a .30-06 in the neck. And that somehow, through the miracle of God, Charlie's neck stopped a .30-06. Not only stopped a .30-06, but was pretty much in good shape, not even destroyed. His neck was not even destroyed by a .30-06. That kind of a miracle, Don. You know hunting, you know guns, and so I'm asking you if this is truly what you believe, to clarify that matter. Make a video, sit down with me, look me in the eye and say, Candace, I really do think that Charlie, our friend, because you are his friend, you were his brother, stopped a .30-06 with his neck, which stayed intact.
So this is in reference to the projector. I'm calling that because of the platform. However, remember, when they go to court, that's going to be in the evidence. They have to identify it, okay? Because obviously they will identify the gun and all those other things, right? So if it's proven in the court of law that it was a 36, I guess that's what she's saying. I'm not familiar with this, the caliber of bullet. Is Candace Owens going to walk back with this? Because the autopsy, they have to do all those other things, right? So right now, we just have to wait to see what's going to happen. But I'm very surprised that she's so disappointed with Don Jr. Candace expected Don Jr. to come and throw his dad's administration under the bus? Oh, man.
You won't say that, Don. You won't say that because it's untrue. And I think that spiritually, it would mess with you. And the hunters that are listening know that you don't believe that. You know too much, okay? So again, I'm going to ask you, if you cannot say anything, I understand the ties that bind. I understand Jared and Ivanka and their investments in Israel and pressure that's coming from the Zionists, to simply be quiet. As his other brothers and sisters and people in the movement, people who don't even know Charlie, get to the bottom of this, because everything we're being sold is absolute BS. That's my request to you, Don. Anyways, moving on from that, I do, on the topic of Israel, want to let you know that I was very excited to sit down and have a conversation, which we will be releasing on Friday with Norman Finkelstein. Norman Finkelstein was probably the single greatest contributor to me being sort of just smacked in the gut about.
So that's Candace right there coming after. I'm like, okay, why are you so worried about Don Jr.? I don't think Don Jr. is going to do the video about it. He doesn't have to do a video about it, right? It's not necessary in any way, shape, or form. So, but what are you guys saying in the chat before we continue with Lady Candace? Okay. All right. Dada Galatians, good to see you. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for joining us. Oh, if I had a dime for every time she says, I think we'll have a fit. Yes, it's all trust me, bro. This is what people are calling it. You know what I mean? It's a trust me, bro type mentality. Okay. Candace is, of course. And it's like, okay, why are you issuing a threat to Don Jr.? Because Don Jr. didn't support your conspiracy theory. It doesn't make any sense. Like, no, leave it alone, Lady Candace over here. Leave it alone. It's so crazy. All right. Let's get back to her and hear what she has to say.
.com. All right. So yesterday in the comments, we had a few people who were asking about the new relic behind me. And I can tell you quickly how I got it. Obviously, it is new. When we were in Wyoming, we traveled with priests. It's something that my husband and I began doing, not last year, the year before last year. And it has enriched our experience traveling as a family, and kind of checking in with yourself and thinking through things theologically, and also feeling a sense of protection to be able to pray. I know that I've received so many emails from people and comments from people who felt compelled. So for some reason that you didn't even know. People said, I haven't gone to church in 45 years. And after I watched Charlie be assassinated, I knew that I needed to go to church. Don't ignore that, okay? You are not like a paper bag floating in the wind, like Katy Perry's song said. You do have a spirit. And what you are pulling, everyone feels that we are in some sort of a spiritual battle now. You're starting to wake up. I feel a lot of people right now are starting to wake up and realize something is wrong. I mean, people are asking, do we live in a matrix? Do we live in a military industrial complex? You recognize something is very wrong. Do not ignore your gut on that, okay? You do not descend
Okay, so this is her sharing that whenever they're traveling, they do travel with a priest. And notice what she said, for protection. The priest has got no power to protect anybody. Okay? That's not how it works. God is the one who protects us. Just because you're there, you're traveling with a priest, that doesn't mean nothing can happen. Remember the same thing, right? They say Charlie was wearing St. Christopher necklace. It's supposed to be for protection. So if this necklace is supposed to be for protection, then that necklace failed to protect him with what happened, right? So that's the Bible does not teach about that. Okay, there is no object that protects you. God is the one who protects us. But she's Catholic, so she's going to veer off in those, in those lines and everything. If people are going to church, I say that yes and amen. You going to church doesn't mean that you're saved and everything. I'm happy that people are seeking God. That's actually good. So we should pray that it should be a genuine conversion, that these people, because usually when something happens, people do seek for God. You know what I mean? Like when you're sick, you pray hard and everything, but when everything else is back to normal, we go back to our old ways. So when a big tragedy happens, it's very common for people to be seeking God, to be seeking answers. So our prayer should be a long-lasting thing. Okay? We hope that it's actually a long-lasting thing. So that is her. Okay. So why did I bring this up? There was a reason why I had to bring this up. So has she said anything about hold on, guys. Okay, we did Lyra Rose. Okay, so now the other person I have an issue with is this gentleman here. Okay? Officer Tatum. Let's hear what he has to say, then I'll make my commentary so we get the picture. Here we go.
Since 2017, I was the only person the last 2 years doing campus tours like Charlie was. He would do his tours, I do my tours. So in the same video team, a lot of them guys would work with me. The same security team protects Charlie for, 10 years now. And so when I see people saying stuff, it's like, there's levels to it, right? I know some people are ignorant, they don't know nothing about nothing, they just like to post. But then it goes to the point where there are people that know the same people I know and say things that are incendiary, and it makes my blood boil. I feel like I'm getting worked up now just thinking about it, because it's so egregious what's happening to those young people that work for Turning Point. The video team that they're saying took an SD card. Mike Turek, who he was doing a head adjustment. I know that guy. Frank Turek is a great guy. He's a Christian guy. He's one of the biggest Christian apologists that go on campus every day. He was Charlie's good friend. I was just at an event before this, like a year before that, riding in the car with him. He's a mentor. He's a great man. And then people on TV saying he's doing hand signals. His security team, these guys are all professional individuals that protect Charlie with their life for several years, everywhere he goes. And you think they're doing a hand signal. So it's very sad to see some people are taking advantage of the moment, which means that it's a lot of money in conspiracies.
Which people? Which some of the people? Why can't this guy mention the names? Who was out here accusing Frank Turek of hand signals? That was Candace Owens. Who is out here promoting these conspiracy theories when it comes to Charlie Kirk? That is Candace Owens. How come this guy, of all, how hard he goes whenever everything else happens. But when it comes to Candace Owens, he cannot get himself to mention Candace Owens' name. Why? Why? He's out here. He's fighting with Tucker online, calling Tucker left and right for platform Nick Fuentes. He can name everybody, but when it comes to Candace Owens, zip. Why? So watch this.
I found out. I wish I was a part of conspiracy. I'm making way more money than I'm making now. But there's money in conspiracies. But also there's people who have another motive. And it's rooted in anti-Semitism, which makes everything that happens go down the path to lead to Jew Street. Meaning that everything that they do have to lead to the Jews, which will make people go up and beyond.
Who is out here blaming everything? The Jews. Oh, it's a picture. Behind it was an Israeli flag. Oh, it's the prime minister. Oh, Jared Kushner, Ivanka, they have investment in Israel. Who is out here doing that? Can you guys tell me? I'm only aware of Candace Owens. If there's other people, please let me know. Please let me know. So why is the Tatum not mentioning Candace Owens? Who is he referring to? Who is he talking about? Okay.
To outrageous lengths beyond conspiracy to make this person responsible or this group of people responsible. So those are kind of like the two phases and dynamics that I see in this whole Charlie Kirk thing and Israel in some cases.
That must be so incredibly frustrating because, like you said, you know Charlie, you know what he thought, and to have it misrepresented and to have people like Candace who were close to Charlie, who worked with you, and then come out and take that track. I mean, that must be heartbreaking in a way because that's your friend or was your friend.
Yeah, I mean, Candace, it's a dynamic with Candace Owens with me that the public may not understand. Candace is like a sister, right? We're not just, I knew Candace more than Charlie. You know, I work with Charlie, we go on something. Candace is like my family, right? Me and her were like brother and sister ever since I met her. We started Blexit together, nonprofit organization that's helped wake up so many people around the country. Her aunt and my mama are like best friends. Her dad was in the hospital and I go to visit her dad at the hospital. We throw birthday parties for her dad. Like, we're a family. Her kids, we visit her kids, our kids play together. And so people love to hear me just bash her online, and I don't. And people probably wonder why. It's because she's like my sister. And it's hard to watch some of the things that she say because I don't understand where it's coming from. And I'll be honest, it's hard for me to even address it with her privately because I don't want to lose our friendship because it's bigger than politics, right? You know,
that's the problem. That is the problem.
Some of y'all better get y'all discernment together. Some of y'all better get y'all discernment together.
So this is the problem. To me, I cannot even understand how these people are operating. Remember when we started this live, right? I've shown you guys, when people have a platform, the stuff they say has consequences. Titan over here just said it. It's hard for him to address this issue with Candace Owens privately. How many videos has this guy done talking about everybody else? But it's hard for him to address this privately. And yet he's telling us that Candace Owens is his sister. Their relationship is like brother and sister. So you're not able to talk to your sister privately? Okay. So I'm not out here saying like, oh, he should come here and bash out Candace Owens. This guy has a following, a crowd-like following, just like Candace. If he come out and just do a video and be like, okay, what Candace Owens said here is wrong. That's all he has to do. Because what? He'll be speaking truth. But he has his allegiance to Candace Owens more than he has to truth. He has no problem to talk about everybody else. So what profits a man to gain the whole world but lose his soul? What did Jesus say? You know what I mean? If you're not willing to lose your mother, your father, your sister-in-law, and everything for the sake of me, you're not worthy my kingdom. And if you love Candace Owens, who happens to be your sister, why are you not telling her the truth? When you're pretending like you don't have to say anything to her and everything else, that's not good. That's not loving. So it's not about you scoring points for people to say you know. You're not going to be bashing Candace Owens. What else have we said here that's bashing Candace Owens? We just critiquing. This is what she said. It does not match about the video. We didn't say anything about her in any way that's disparaging. So why can't he do the same thing? He doesn't want to do the same thing for this quote unquote for the sake of friendship. So are you telling me this guy, Officer Tatum, is okay if something happens to him, like what happened to Charlie Kirk? He's fine and well. For Candace Owens to be doing the same exact thing she is doing on Charlie Kirk to his wife. I'm not saying that anything should happen to him, but if the roles were reversed, would he be fine with it? After all, Candace will have a case like, wait a minute, Officer Tatum was my brother. He was this, he was that. Is he going to be okay with it? Because he's not willing to address Candace Owens privately. He's not willing to address Candace Owens publicly. So would he be okay with this tactic from Candace Owens if she was to do the same thing? If lo and behold something happened to him in that way to his wife? That's what I would like to know. So let's hear a little bit more.
What happens when this stuff is over? well, I'll say this. People would love to see me just bash her, right? But the same people will turn on me. Like if you ever notice her content, she don't never say anything about me. And you know she disagreed with me. She probably adamantly disagreed with me. I'm probably one of the people that she, or at least the ideology that I have is one of the people that she probably hate. But we don't talk about each other publicly. One reason is because when all of this stuff settles, right, the people that follow me, the millions of people, when I say something wrong, they hate me and they unfollow me and they never talk to me again. When you have a friend, it's hard to try to damage their relationship because one day we're going to be old. Our kids are going to be, grown, and we may not even be in politics no more. And you don't want to burn that bridge. So it's a difficult dynamic for me. And it's the first time that anybody's heard me really talking this to a certain degree because I am confused at some of the things that I've heard her say about Israel, about Charlie. It's confusing to me. And Candace is stubborn, if you haven't noticed. In our personal life, we argue back and forth, and I'm a stubborn person, she's stubborn. So it's kind of hard to say, Candace, let's sit down and talk about it. And one day I think I will. But it's a danger of saying, is this going to be our last conversation, right? Is this we're going to get into a big old argument and it's going to be like, I don't want to be your friend anymore. And that's, as a family member, like a sister to me, I don't want that to be a reality.
Sleeping less than 6 hours.
So, there you have it, guys. This guy is willing to let all this damage, all these breadcrumbs, all these other things to go for the sake of, quote unquote, the friendship that he has with Candace. Because he doesn't want to burn the bridge with Candace. The same guy who has told us that he was there working for Turning Point. He supports Charlie Kirk, worked with Charlie Kirk. He's raising money to give to Erica Kirk. His wife and Erica Kirk, they are friends. But he is willing to let Candace run rampant with all this conspiracy and everything else. One hand has the Charlie Kirk family, one hand Candace Owens, but he doesn't want to burn that bridge. So it's fine he is willing to sacrifice all these other things that's happening right now for the sake of maintaining the relationship with Candace Owens. That's all what he has said. And he thinks that's noble? That is not noble, guys. If somebody is doing something, you should be bold enough to call it out. And if this is the handshake that she made with Candace Owens, that you don't talk about me, no matter what, I don't talk about you, then it's better for him just to say that. Like, guys, I signed a deal with Lady Candace that whatever happens, she doesn't say anything about me, I don't say anything about that. I'm a gentleman, I want to honor that agreement. So with this Charlie Kirk, yes, I don't like what she's doing, but I'm just going to what? Ignore it and keep it moving while I'm talking about everybody else. To me, this gentleman has lost his credibility because he wants to pick and choose who he wants to talk about. I get it. It's very difficult to talk about somebody else. That's why I'm saying, if your friend is doing something, you don't even have to do a video. You can just go straight to them and have that conversation. You see what I'm saying? But he said he cannot even have that conversation in private. So what you do, you go in private, which I agree. You just don't do a video, talk about your friend. Go in private and talk about that issue, right? And then you can actually explain, Candace Owens, I have a platform just like you do. I have a responsibility to my audience. My audience are asking me to weigh in. So I'm absolutely going to weigh in. I do not approve with what you're doing, this, and I'm going to lay it out to my audience. In fact, he'll get more respect like that. All he has to do is come out of the audience, guys. Candace is my sister. I'm not going to lose my relationship with her. We've discussed this. But this is what she's doing. I don't support it. She's wrong here, she's wrong here, she's wrong here. And I've said the same thing I'm saying to you is what I have addressed with her in private. Simple, straightforward. That's all he has to do. We are not out here saying he should bash Candace Owens like, oh, Candace Owens, she doesn't clean her house. Oh, Candace Owens doesn't cook. That's not what we're saying out here, okay? She can come out, like, for the sake of Charlie Kirk and everything I know about Charlie Kirk and with everything else I know, this, that will be more credibility for him. But for him to come out with a straight face, oh, this is the most I've talked about. Me, like, what are you doing? So to me, I'm asking, does Candace Owens know where the dead bodies are buried? That the day you mentioned her name, she's just going to turn around and put you against the same issues. Because, Candace Owens has accused everybody. Do you think it will stop Candace Owens to accuse Tatum? After she accused everybody. So Officer Tatum knows, like, you know what? I would rather not say anything. That way she doesn't have, her arrows doesn't have to point towards me. So I'm just going to keep it moving as if nothing happened. What else could it be? Either he's scared, Candace Owens might implicate him, Candace Owens might also accuse him, so he's choosing to keep quiet. Or what else could it be? You guys give me what explanation do you have? You ask me, he's scared. Candace Owens will implicate him, so he'd rather keep quiet. Look how Rhea Rose came out quick and defend the honor of her husband. Okay? Because Candace Owens, she's handing all these sweets to everybody. Right? To everybody. I mean, if Candace can implicate Donald Trump, you tell me. Or she think twice about Officer Tatum? Huh? So I thought like, okay, you know what? Sorry. Okay, let's watch a little bit more.
See people at the death of Charlie Kirk, it's almost like God did a separation of the wheat and the tare. Charlie Kirk was like this, I could say the crescendo of the separation between good and evil. I really do believe so. His death should have been about revival, should have been about Christianity, should have been about the great things he's done. The people that's talking about him that knew him should be raising money for his family like we're doing. I mean, we literally did a t-shirt for Charlie and 100% of the profits go to his wife. This is what they should be doing. Instead, they're following a path of division and evilness because some of them know better, but they're still doing it.
How do you know that?
Which one? The evilness or them?
How do they know better? How do you know? Because people say that about everybody on the internet.
Yeah.
They are a grifter. They sold out. They're getting paid by Qatar, or they're getting paid by Israel, or you and I are supposed to get $7,000.
I'm still waiting on my check. Let me know when you get yours. Right. Talk to that person.
But I always wonder because people say that about everybody, and people say that about me, and people say that, and I sitting across from me, I know you saying what you believe, and I say what I believe. I might be right, I might be wrong, but I say what I believe. And yet people say it about me. So how do you know that that's what these people know better? Because I agree with you. Like, look, I'm not a friend of Candace. And so I just look at what she says and I think it's crazy. And I say so, right? But I believe that she believes what she believes.
Yeah.
I really think that.
Yeah.
Right? But so why do you say that some people know better?
When you look at their work product, you look at what they've said over the years and the things that they've done, and then you look at the new dynamic of how they're presenting information. You're like, well, you've never done this in any other situation that you've ever been involved in. Why are you doing it like this now? Most of these people have always been, wait till the facts come out, right? All the police shootings. Because the media jumps in, it's race. All these people are saying, no, it's not about race. Wait till the facts come out. Wait till the trial. Kyle Rittenhouse, the leftist nut jobs were saying, he shot black people, that's what they said. Mm-hmm. And he shouldn't have had a rifle, and he's going to go to prison for life, and he was wrong, and he was unprovoked, and all this stuff. And the conservative people were saying, well, no. Let's wait till the trial. Let's wait for justice to come out. But then all of a sudden in this scenario, we don't need to wait. People have spent the last 10 years advocating for Donald Trump and advocating for conservatives to take control of prominent positions in the FBI, prominent positions in the House and Senate. And all the way up until now, Kesh Patel was our guy. Dan Bongino has been the man. We love. I'd love Dan Bongino. If he sat down in front of you, he would be just as genuine as I am. Why all of a sudden are these people no longer relevant? Why all of a sudden these people are threats to society now? Why all of a sudden?
Can I just pause you there? Does Epstein play a part in this as well? You, the trigonometry audience.
Well, but you guys get the point, right? They are going to their ads. But I was just like, dude, look around you. Look around you. look around you. So, oh, that was weird. That was weird. Hey, oh my gosh, guys, good to see you. I'm muted. Wait a minute. So, what about now? There's no sound. Please tell me there's sound. We have sound now? Man, what's going on? All right, no sound, no sound, no sound. We should have sound now, guys. I can see the sound here. I don't know what has happened. So I guess we should leave the show. That's weird. Man. All right. Man, what's going on? Oh, before I was muted. All right. I was muted before. Okay. I think there's a delay for some reason. Anyway, where was I saying? I forgot. But you heard the video, right? As long as you heard, what's his name? Officer Tatum. So my point that I was making was this, right? Officer Tatum has responsibility to his audience, to his followers. So he is not willing to be honest with his followers. He has no problem calling out Tucker Carlson. Okay? But out here, he's not going to call out Candace Owens. Why? Because he's the sister and everything, right? The issue is you just presenting the facts of the matter, critiquing whatever Candace Owens is saying, as opposed to just running around like, oh, people are talking about Kash Patel, they're talking about this. Who is out here doing that but Lady Candace? So either you don't want to say anything about Candace because you know she's going to come after you. She knows where the bodies are buried. You don't want her to do that, so you're going to zip it. The question to ask Officer Tatum, would he support what Candace Owens is doing if that wasn't Erica Kirk, if that was his wife? How would he want Candace Owens to react? You know what I mean? So I guess, I bet that makes sense. Okay? So, guys, let's do this. Which one was this one? Why do I have this one? Because I had a couple, well, we just have to cover some of this another day. But this is what she said today. I didn't want to leave this not explained because this crazy town, guys. Crazy town, crazy town. All right, fine. Take a look at this, what she said, okay? We're going to do more on this, but we can just cover a little bit of this, okay? Take a listen to this. Here we go.
They need to look into NAR. Again, I would follow Village Crazy Lady on X. She's fantastic at research, and she has been keeping them on their toes with research, and that is the area that she wants to go down. I can only chase so many rabbits, and I think what we have an understanding of is an apparatus that was about anything but faith, okay? I think actually, when I now look at the picture and I'm learning more about Rob McCoy and knowing that he was the co-chair in 2024 or maybe in 2023 of Turning Point USA, they believe, and this is why the Christian Zionism thing becomes so important, that they can hijack our emotions and tell us that it's our biblical duty to support the state of Israel, because I think the state of Israel is probably involved in what is happening at the border, in what is happening overseas. It is definitively involved in all these wars. I mean, everywhere you look, Israel pops up. It doesn't matter if you're talking about Congo. They'll be like, well, look at what the Christians being slaughtered in Congo. Oopsies, Dan Gertler, Diamond.
So, yeah, we want to cover that one, another time. But the point is, the stuff that Officer Tatum is saying, these are the same exact things that Candace is doing. At every turn, it's what? It's the Zionist. Okay? At every turn, it's the Jews. It's the Jews. It's the Jews. It's the Jews. So this is where we have with Mrs. Farmer, guys. Okay? Mrs. Farmer. So we're gonna close with this, okay? We'll cover the other stuff another time. Because right now she says she couldn't sleep. She's usually off on Fridays, okay? But she could not sleep because she had discovered information that blows this investigation apart. So much so that whatever she scheduled today, she canceled to bring that information. So we'll cover that next time, guys, if you can believe it. I was just like, wow, she could not sleep. She tweeted that out like, oh no, I can't sleep. Like this has to be done, like right now. So I'm like, oh my gosh, George Farmer. Oh man. So the plane, guys. Okay. So the plane issue has been debunked. Okay. But she's still pursuing this issue. Okay. So this is what happened. I have to show you the full article. Okay. So breaking news. On September 10th, Candace Owens. On September 10th, after Charlie's assassination, an Egyptian Air Force plane flew out of Provo, Utah. Tail number SUBTT. Its first trip to America ever was made on July 20 to an army base in Nebraska. Tara Robinson must have had some powerful friends. Okay? And somebody, Candace, you said this plane flew out of Provo after assassination. Except the plane flew out of Provo at 13:08 UTC. This means the plane flew out of Provo on 9:10 shortly after 7 in the morning. This was well before the assassination took place. So the guy is now responding to Candace. Here we go.
Like as if I'm on flight radar every day, accustomed to reading the data here. Yeah, I thought that I was looking at mountain time, like a local time on flight radar. As Mark just explained, no, they do it according to universal time. Okay, big deal. Like actually, big deal. Then I saw that the one random Twitter user that caught that mistake suddenly got boosted in the algorithm and they made it a trending story. Like it was like, trending story, this has been debunked. And I was like, I've been telling you guys for a while the military runs X, like not Elon Musk, the military. These are military bots that you're seeing on X. But that was essentially the vibe. Egyptian military plane, don't look over here. We have debunked it. It has nothing to do with Charlie Kirk conspiracy theory because she got the time zone wrong. It was actually the flight departed a couple of hours earlier than she said. Okay. You know me. That just makes me more curious. Anytime you see a Snopes level debunking, as I like to term it, it means you're...
Okay.
So you see, this woman, she gave information as breaking news. And she was actually even on vacation when she broke the story, saying, we have found information, we know this happened, I have flight details, blah, blah, blah. Then they check her out, say, no, the plane left at 7 a.m. long before these other things happened. So it's not just a small information. It is crucial because she had presented this, quote unquote, as evidence. And when it was pointed out to her, like, no, this is Yuda, this is what happened, it's a nothing burger, she just comes out to her audience and pretended as if it was nothing. Oh, this guy, nothing guy on Twitter, the guy has 300 something followers on Twitter, so he's just not a random. And oh, it's a military boss. It's not military, whatever boss. So it's this idea, like, just to dismiss anything that's poking holes in her so-called investigation, dismisses it military, dismisses it bot, whatever else it is. So this guy is the one who had that information. So watch what he had to say. Here we go.
A Snopes level debunking. Now, all that happened is that she made a simple mistake. In the very image that she posted on her post, it showed the time as being UTC, and I think it was 13:08 UTC if I'm going by memory. Basically, she interpreted it as being 1:08 p.m. when it was not. It was actually 7:08 a.m. in the morning in Provo. So she made a very significant factual error, and all I did was point it out. It was not. I never said anything was debunked. That certainly wasn't part of a Snopes level debunking. I reject the description of me as being just a random Twitter user. And certainly, I don't think that what happened to my post after I made it, and which was actually a reply to her, had anything to do with bots or the military controlling X. It's just as simple as this. She was wrong. It was a statement of inescapable fact. It was not opinion. It was not speculation. It was not a theory. It was not a conspiracy. She said the plane left at one time and implied that it was significant because it left after the events at UVU. She implied that significance. And that's not what happened. The plane left before. And that's all I stated. So I don't know if I'm going to, I'll watch the rest of this. I don't know. She's talking about a couple different things in here. The other topics, really, I'm not interested in. I'm not even interested in this. I'm only watching it because she referenced me directly. So that's about it. Signing off. Your favorite.
So there you have it. She presented information as evidence. It was wrong information. She was corrected. Instead of her taking off that Twitter, issuing a correction, she just doubled down. Like, oh, this is just a military boss as if nothing. No. You are telling us you have this information. You have this evidence that's going to lead to who did this to Charlie Kirk, because she does not believe it's Tyra Robinson. So all we are asking is provide this evidence. If Tyra Robinson had help, who are the people who helped? Who is who? Give us evidence so we can actually help you in this investigation, so we can bring justice to Charlie Kirk. But the stuff that she's bringing is accusation, innuendos, this, that, and the third. So when people point those things out, they are the problem. They are military or they are bots. Because now we Israel, Egypt, Ukraine, France, Trump, Don Jr., TPUSA, the donors, the big cut. Guys. Woo, man. This train has reached the reservation. Okay. Now I have sound. Okay. Yes, guys. So, man. At this point, what else could it be? If it's not about what else could it be? Okay? So I said it. If she cannot have Turning Point, nobody else will have it. So she's willing to destroy Turning Point by any means necessary. Okay? But this is the organization that belongs to her best friend, right? So wouldn't she want the children of her best friend to be able to benefit from Turning Point when they grow up? Where is that issue? All right? So we are not getting that. So this is what's happening to her. But you guys are simply the best. There is a lot to cover with this lady. So we absolutely have to do this again. Daughter of Galatians, always nice seeing you. Thank you for being here. Jimmy Traces, yes, man. You know, gotta get that money, man. Making that bag. Gotta get that bag. Mika, I'm sorry I did not have sound. Okay? Is Candace Owens making us to be muted out here? Okay. Good to see you, Kelly Michelle. Thank you for being here. All right, guys. You guys are simply the best. I appreciate you guys. So we just have to do the other one. Because I'm like, the thing, what she's doing, she knows how to engage this audience and everything. Because every day it's a new information. So it's not like, okay, it's the other information. No. That's why the train keeps moving. It's new information. So we are hoping that the evidence is going to come out, guys. We are hoping that eventually, because that's what she said. There's so many rats on the ship. So she's holding on to the information to be providing a little bit here, a little bit there, a little bit here, a little bit there. Can you imagine? Like, are you doing this to your best friend? So that's the problem that we have. But thank you so much, you guys. I appreciate your viewership. Absolutely. Let's continue this conversation in the comment section. Make sure you're a subscriber and double check. Follow me on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Believe it or not, Candace has minions all over the place. And yes, they do come for you, girl. But I have you guys, okay? So let's flood the comment section to counter the narrative, because they're coming hard, okay? They're coming hard. But nevertheless, you guys, I do appreciate you. Thank you for being here. We are going to cover the next one next time that we are together. So we'll leave it there for tonight. I hope you find this to be informative to you. Be sure to subscribe, follow me on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Stay tuned. More coming this week. Until next time, remember, theology matters. Thank you.